Hi and welcome to this very special live event here on MRTV. And I'm glad to say hello to Kevin Henderson, the COO of Pimax. How are you doing, Kevin?
It's good to see you again. I'm happy to be here.
Right. Yeah, we were supposed to meet in Las Vegas at CES, but it didn't
Yeah,
happen. So I'm glad that we're having now this event to make up for it, right? Yeah. So
yeah. Talk about these things, show some things. We got a lot to hit on, I guess, today.
yeah, wow. We
It's
have
gonna be
so many
exciting.
things. We have so many things to talk about. It's going to be a really, really exciting show. So, what is this show all about? Well, as the title of this live stream says it all, it is the PIMAX 12K Qled Unveiling. We're going to see an
Yeah,
actual device for the very first time. This is a
yeah.
world premiere. So all of the people who are watching this right now, do share the URL of this stream. Tell all of your VR fans to watch this right now, because this is about VR history being made live here on MRTV. So this is a really cool thing. We're going to see the 12K Qled, and we're going to have an Ask Me Anything where the community has actually
Right.
asked so many questions already. And well, I am representing the VR community, and I'm going to grill you, Kevin. There will be no holding back. Are you ready for that?
Well, I hope so. I'll do my
Okay.
best.
All right. Really cool that actually you agreed to make this happen, right? You could have done this on your own on the Pimax channel, but you came here on the channel, and
Well,
you know that I'm asking the hard
I felt
questions
like
without holding back. So props for that,
yeah,
and really my
that's
respect
why
for
I'm
that,
here.
and really also the respect of the community that you actually dare to come on here on MRTV, because this is not any kind of advertising event for your device. This is the community wanting to
Nope.
find out more about the device. And that is
I
what
think a critical thought process is a good thing, and you bring that to the table, and it's good.
exactly. So I'm glad that you agreed to make this happen, especially since the CES event did not happen and lots of questions would have been asked there. So, yeah, we're going to do it
Yep.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
We would have liked to do in CES. It's too bad we didn't get to do that. So you were going to be
I
there
will.
too, but even you couldn't
Yeah,
couldn't
right,
go.
right. COVID and
Yeah,
family issues. So yeah, it didn't happen. So yeah, but
yeah.
that's the past. Now we're here,
That's
and we're going to make this
it
happen.
is.
Right. So for all
So
the people out there who are watching this by mistake and who are wondering, hey, what is this 12K Qled? What is this all about? Probably we can first talk a bit about it. So let me kind of summarize it a bit, and if you can always jump in
sure.
if you think I misunderstood something or whatever. So in October last year, I believe there was an event, the
Right.
Pimax Frontier event. And in that
Correct.
event, it was a live stream on the Pimax channel. You introduced the Pimax 12K Qled, which is your new flagship headset of a complete new
Exactly.
platform of VR headsets that you are going to launch in the future. And this platform is called the Reality Series. So far,
Correct.
so
That's
correct,
a,
right? Right.
so
And
far so good.
so far, so good. So far, so good. And I must tell you, when I was watching that stream, I was like, well, like all of the VR community, we were like flabbergasted. Is that the correct English term?
Sure.
Like we were like, wow,
I
you
thought
you
the
were
show came off great.
the
The
show
quality of it was our best
yeah,
quality show.
absolutely, that was absolutely the best kind of show that I've ever seen from Pimax. So the production values, everything really nice.
Yep.
And in that show, you promised us the world. I must say it like this, it really felt like, are you kidding me? This
Sure.
Pimax 12K QLED, this new device, it honestly speaking, it sounded just too good to be true. And very often,
Well, they say
if
they say
if
go
things
big or
sound
go home,
if
right?
things sound too good to be true, they are not true. I must honestly say it like this. So this device, it just seemed to be everyone's dream, every VR enthusiast's dream. So it has no compromises, basically, right? It's like the perfect
Yeah.
headset. So it is. People
said some of those things
Pimaxians, right? Pimaxians and
Pimaxians.
Pimaxians, yeah, not Martians. Pimaxians.
Yeah.
They don't take compromises. They don't need compromises because they get the very, very best, which is they don't have to choose between standalone or PCVR because this headset can do both. It's like a standalone headset with a XR2 chipset, just like the Quest 2. But if you don't want the standalone mode, you can connect it to your computer, and then it's a PCVR headset. But you don't only need it like with a wire. You can also have it wireless with Wigig, right? So you simply get the best. Then, in terms of the FOV, like we know that Pimax is a huge wide FOV company, right? So the FOV of the Pimax 8KX wasn't enough. Now you're even wider, right?
Correct.
Now it's like even wider. And if I can believe what you said in that event, no distortions at all anymore. This is like the dream come true. This is what I want, right? This is what you said in the. Okay, cool. We'll get to that. We'll get to that in a moment. Then
I'll talk about those things for sure.
Yeah, of course. Then the lenses, Fresnel lenses, aspheric lenses. No, we don't want this. You get the best of both worlds. You get the new lens type, which is you think you call them bionic lenses or. Anyways, it's a combination. It's a combination of a spheric lens in the middle, and then like Fresnel lens
and a Fresnel lens.
Fresnel, at the peripheral area. So you should get the best of both worlds. Then in terms of resolution, man, the 8KX, it's okay with the 4K displays, but it's not enough for Pimaxians.
It's 6K per eye.
Because you get 6K per eye. So you get this 12K air quotes resolution, and and also for the panel, not only does it have like 12K, but also 200 hertz. Man, I'm still in awe how you could make 200 hertz possible when at the moment it's even tough to do 120 hertz with the 8KX. And I'm going to grill you on that part a lot later.
Sure.
So I really want to know how you will be able to make that happen. And then what else? What did I forget? So
it's got Wi-Fi 6 integrated, which is another thing, and it's got a Qled panel, which is new. It's got a dimming backlight, which is new.
Yeah.
A battery operation, which is new.
Right.
It's got new speakers. It's got new audio processing on board, which is real cool.
Exactly. So
3 USBs that are powered.
Right.
3 microphones.
Exactly.
3 different pickups, which are pretty cool. And face tracking, eye tracking.
Face tracking, eye tracking. Also in the video, it was like a talk about full body tracking module, like different kinds of modules. And
that one I haven't seen the body tracking one.
Okay. Yeah. Anyways, so we're still in this kind of introduction phase. So you promised a lot for this headset. It was just like so much that after the show I thought like, wow, this could even bring out my dog for a stroll if I if I had a dog. so this could do everything. Anyways, now we simply want to find out about the headset. So show it to us. Show it to the world.
And the new tracking technology is another thing.
Exactly. New tracking. It's not about
base stations.
Right. Base stations, inside-out tracking. You have your own controllers.
Oh, we have the new joystick controller.
You have the new joystick controllers. Exactly. It's like inside-out tracking. So all these kinds of things. Like just like after the presentation, we just thought like, wow, it's like, wow, so much promise. It honestly speaking, it felt like, like over-promising, and I was wondering, don't you set up yourself for set up yourself for like disappointment? Don't you set the community up for disappointment with with these huge promises?
Yeah, no, we actually struck things from the show because we felt like it was too much. We didn't even get into all the features that it has. So I guess we could talk about.
Wow,
some of those things.
That is interesting. So even that we felt it was over the top. You even like didn't put You didn't put everything into that.
We didn't want it to. Well, there was a few problems. One of them is we didn't want it to go too long. We
Okay.
wanted to keep it into like almost exactly an hour. And we wanted to
Okay.
talk about how it would be used in the metaverse and the new software platform. So you only
Okay.
had 15 minutes or so to really go through the hardware specs.
Okay.
So
All right. All
we didn't
right.
get into everything, and
Okay.
some of it
Good.
we just simply saved to reveal later. Yeah.
Right. 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 Yeah.
So
Anyways, with this introduction, I simply wanted to
what's
let
cool
you.
is when you get to see and test these things.
Right. Right.
What's fun is seeing the evolution. I've been doing this at Pimax for almost 4 years now, and
I know.
seeing all these. We have a lot of headsets, and seeing these evolve, where they get a new version and another new one, and it has more features, and that's been more true with the 12K than any other headset, because it has a lot of really new things, and
Right. Right.
it's quite impressive. With the new lenses, something we hadn't had in a long time,
Right. We're going
and
to get into.
and a
We're going
lot
to
of
get
things.
into
But
all of this. We're going to get into all of this. So
yeah,
with this
so where do
little,
you want to start?
yeah, right, right. With this little introduction, I just wanted to say, obviously, I'm a VR enthusiast, and as a VR enthusiast, I am excited. But I also want to say, on the other hand, there is this skepticism, because
Sure.
before in the Pimax
Of
history,
course.
there have been these kind of lofty promises, and then Pimax didn't deliver, or delivered
Sure.
like way too late. So with this intro, I just wanted to, let you and let the community know that, well, I am excited about this, but I will still treat this with lots of skepticism. And that's also what I got from the questions from the community, just to set this show
Sure.
up right from the start, right? So that this is not any kind of advertisement event for the Pimax 12K Qled. This is really
didn't-
for the community to ask questions. And that's
Just
what I'm
for
going
the
to do.
record, we didn't prepare for this at all. This is all completely. I don't have any question. Nobody sent me anything. I'm just here.
Yeah,
And,
exactly,
I'm
exactly.
just,
That's
yeah.
exactly what I'm going to do. that's
Right.
what we all appreciate. So let's start this. And come on, I know that the community wants to see the headset, so show it now.
Okay. I've got this little new gizmo here. I want to try to use this thing. Let's see. So let's do this a little bit.
Yeah,
This is the 12K.
there it is. Cool. So it is real.
And you can
Woohoo!
see the new lenses.
Here it is. First
And then
time.
there it is.
First time in history, a real
Cameras.
12K QLED. Physical
New
reveal.
speakers. You can see the battery.
Okay. Can you show a bit closer probably the lenses, because this is the first time that we see the lenses, and let me probably wait a moment. Let me show it a bit bigger for. No, that's me. Okay. Okay, show the lenses a bit more. Oh wow, okay. Can you do
see
this
the
again?
battery.
We're excited about the lenses.
Show the pictures.
I will, but on the pictures, I think you cannot really see the lenses so well.
Right.
Could you do it again?
Hold on.
Okay, so these are the new bionic lenses?
Yes.
Okay.
This is how we would used to number the lens. I don't know if you remember, it's back in the day, but when you were a tester for the lenses a long time ago, you went through the various iterations. This one is an earlier iteration of the lenses than the one that like Martin is testing. So this is like M6 or 7, and he's like 8 or 9, I think. So
okay.
But yeah, rating the lenses, and we're close to the final version of the lens now. And and there's a lot to that, to getting that exactly, where you get it distortion free across your entire view. And that's key to and since we have the eye tracking now with that we're working with Toby on the eye tracking, and we're using their latest version of eye tracking, and we pull that data in to build the profile, the distortion profile. And we've been working with them on exactly that interaction. So that's part of the key, the secret sauce, part of the secret sauce on getting that distortion free.
Okay.
So,
Wow. I'm obviously looking forward to look through them.
they're
I'm very
quite the
much
experts, by the way. Toby is they're geniuses when it comes to a lot of these, especially distortion correction, and the thing they have called Foveated transport, which lets us compress the data coming across the cable, and then the spotlight capability, which is their DFR, their implementation of DFR.
Okay.
So those things all combined get your visual experience, and
Yeah, I'm looking forward to
and
that.
they're quite the experts. So, and that one you don't necessarily have to trust Pimax. Toby is the leader in these things. So,
man, I wanted to keep that question for later, but I can't wait. I must
I'm
ask you
sorry.
now. I must ask you now already. Like, when will I be able to go hands on with the device? When can I really look through it?
I don't know. We'll go down that path. I was thinking about inviting you here, and maybe you can
Okay.
do it here.
Yeah. Well, I'm ready. I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
Thought that
So,
might be fun. I thought we might get Thrill Seeker down here, and maybe 3 or 4 YouTubers down here, and we can do
yeah,
it all.
sure.
I don't think it'll be that long.
That
It's
would be
already where you
fantastic.
could.
I'm ready.
It's already to a sufficient degree where you could do that. I mean, but
Okay.
but there just aren't very many samples. Is the problem.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. Well. I'm absolutely ready to fly there and look through that. Absolutely. So what can this device? Yeah, that would be amazing, right? So what can this device that is there in front of you? What can it do as compared to what you have promised in that Frontier event? So
Sure.
so can you use that device
first of all,
already?
let me give you a little qualifier. Mine does less than Martin's does. His is a newer one than mine, but so he's got later revisions than I do. He's probably a month newer than mine is. So if I was to give you, what does it do right now? It has 6 degrees. It has 6 DOF tracking based on the 4-camera system, the high-speed system. It has the new lenses. It's got the Qled displays. It's got the new backlight, which is dimming. It does wireless. In a minute here, when you show the pictures, you'll see the samples for that. So it has wireless. The wireless that works is the 60 gigahertz. The 6E we're still working on, and doesn't work as good yet. Although you can use the 6E to download software with the standalone, meaning that you can log into your router and come to our server and use it for downloading firmware, and you can download software into the memory that the device has. This one has 128 gig, I think. But you can download with Wi-Fi 6 into the unit, but you can't. But actually using it for the wireless control doesn't work well yet for 6. 60 gigahertz does. What else?
So
the eye tracking.
So the Wigig module.
Transport
So the Wigig module works well already, and you can play Steam VR games using this device in front of you.
You can play Steam VR games. Perfectly. You can play them cabled.
Okay.
And then when you're running Wigig, it works, but you can get some weird. Well, on mine, you can get some weird sort of glitchy. It's not perfect. But it's getting there. Every day you get a better version. That's the cool thing about testing, is they say try this, and sometimes when they say try this, it doesn't work at all, and sometimes they say try this, and it's a big improvement. And they always have an expectation on what they think a new version is going to do, and they tell you, and then you try to verify that. and sometimes it's great and sometimes it's not, and you just keep moving up. And
Right.
we've been doing that since I don't know how long. People don't realize. I mean, we released the AKX 2 years ago, and we were working on these headsets before then. So I mean, we've been working on these new headsets for years. So this is a lot different than the earliest versions that we had that we were testing. So they weren't
Okay.
even in the same housing as this one is. So
Yeah.
in the early days. And these
Okay,
have
so let's get back
fans
to the
in it.
module.
It
Let's get
has
back to
it
the
has a
let's
cooling.
get back to the device. What it can do now.
Sure. It's got fans. It's got these active cooling system.
Hmm.
It has the dimming backlight. Right now, the backlight in the one I have doesn't. It only. It doesn't. The full dimming capability is not in there yet. Martin's has some dimming capability. What else? They have the QLEDs. It has a
So
new
the final panel is already in this headset.
the QLED panel,
Yes.
the final QLED panel.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's either final or close to final.
Okay.
The problem is, with these new panels, they're not available in real large quantity. It isn't just us putting it into the headset, but it's also being able to buy them in thousands of units at a time, and they have to have a high yield at the factory. So right now you can
Right.
only get a handful of these kind of panels right now. So,
Okay.
but in the next few months we'll be able to start getting hundreds of them. So,
Okay. Yeah.
you
All
know,
right. So keep on going. What else does already work?
uh, the audio is better than ever. It's got a slightly new version of the DMAS, and what's cool is it uses the XR2 to do the audio processing for the first time. We have onboard audio processing, and so the audio is night and day. It's really impressive. So there's no tweaking. You don't have to touch it at all on the to with the like right now with the DMAS, you got to fool with the
Yeah, it's not so
equalizer
great,
and
honestly
to get it
speaking, in my
exactly
opinion,
right.
the DMAS. Let's be honest about it.
Um,
But okay, so here it's better.
I really like the audio in the 12K. So
Okay, but why can't this
the
audio also
and I
be
don't
on the 8KX? What is the upgrade? What is the upgrade? Did you change something for the hardware, or why is it now here
yeah
better than it was on the 8KX?
yeah this is THX and DTS certified on the speakers. And like I say, it uses the audio processing from the XR2 on board. The
So
one
so
great
this
thing,
makes
the
the difference.
12K, yes, it makes
Okay.
it's surprisingly huge difference. The difference is you don't have to touch it. You can just play the games and you don't have to do it.
Okay.
There's no fiddling or configuration at all. So, um, it's the nice thing about it is that compared to like an 8KX or other headsets, one neat thing about the 12K is the fact that since things happen on inside, it has internal controls. Um, it doesn't rely on your Windows PC as much. So
Okay.
a lot of things like audio control, color contrast, backlight control, all that all happens internally. And so you don't with Windows PCs, you have this wide variety of drivers for all sorts of things, and everybody's a little bit different. And
Okay.
I think that's one of the really nice things of having integrated processing power like this has. Also, when you do things like updating the firmware, it's much smoother because it happens all internal. You can do it without the computer. You don't need the PC at all to do that.
So no more
And
command line
whereas,
tools needed?
yeah, the cool thing is it's completely unified. So that
Okay.
means that you know right now on the 8KX, you load PyTool. PyTool tries to detect it communicates with the headset and it tries to detect what version of the firmware you have. and then it tries to update if it's not new enough and all of that. It doesn't work that way anymore. When it comes up, it's all internal, so you can update.
Okay.
Now, whether or not it'll still be that way by the time it releases, I assume it will.
All right. Yeah. What else? What else is ready already? So yeah, audio
Runs on a battery.
Runs on battery. Okay.
Which is completely new. This one has a 6,000 mAh battery. Whether or not we can increase that to a higher value by the time it releases, we don't know.
It's a hot swappable battery, right? We're going to see this, by the way.
Yeah, you can just pop.
Yeah, right.
By the
way, we are going to see that later in the stream for the first time. So this is going to be a world premiere. We're going to see the lots of things here for the first time. So that is really cool. So absolutely stay tuned here. Yeah, keep on going. So
you're going to see the joystick controllers for the first time too.
Right. Lots of firsts here. Nice.
Yeah. So that'll be a new one. And you'll get to see our base station, the Pimax base station
for the Wigig.
That's right.
Cool.
That's right.
So lots of things to look forward to. Yeah,
I think that's a bit of a scoop, I guess.
Right. Okay. So yeah. Okay. So. Lots of things
That's
work.
Pretty much it. Oh, it has features that maybe we didn't talked about too much. I mean, it's got, for instance, little things that it has that are new. For instance, the how on AKX you have when you try to take out the comfort kit. On the 12K, the comfort kit is connected with magnets, so that whole thing just snaps off and
that's
back on real easy.
Yeah.
So you can pop it off to clean the lenses or do whatever you need. And you can have special versions of this that can be hot swapped.
Okay.
So basically, if you were to just think, people that talk about the 12K is like you were saying, like, man, this thing is so difficult or such a high bar to set. I don't know if I really agree with that. And the reason is, if you look at it's not that any individual feature is some ridiculously high bar. People would have expected us to have that move from an 8K to a 12K. If that was all we did, you would have thought nothing of it.
Right.
6K per eye instead of 4K per eye makes sense, right?
With the Pimax logic,
Qled,
yes.
Panel. Well, you know what I mean. Moving to a Qled panel,
right,
makes sense that we might want to do that. And a dimming backlight, sure. That's something if you look at each individual feature, the eye tracking from Tobii, the 6 degrees of freedom tracking from Qualcomm. It's from Qualcomm. They've been, it's not a huge stretch. It's their latest version. It uses 4 cameras, very high speed.
Kevin, we had this talk already when we talked last time. We had exactly this talk when we talked last time already. So let's better concentrate on what's at hand here in front of you. So how about what problems does Pimax 12K still have that have to be solved before the launch? I think that's more interesting right now.
The Wi-Fi.
Okay.
The Wi-Fi 6 is the main thing. Getting the 60 gigahertz smooth is another thing.
Okay, so it's more about the Wi-Fi that's right now the problem.
The things that the issues this has reminds me of the kinds of things that the AKX had. The glitchy stuff that that you're always working through on prototypes. That are natural to prototypes. It's a typical development process. The only thing different about this development process, it has a lot of pieces to it, and but most of the pieces we've been working on for 2.5 years. So and they're all evolutionary of things that we already released,
Right.
But everything from the housing to the facial appliance to the speakers to the joysticks, which are based on the sword controllers, on and on and on. They're all evolutions of things we've already done. So essentially it's a package of next version things all in one. The one true new feature is the battery operation and the standalone operation, which actually works quite well.
Okay, that is super interesting.
That piece is working great, and is quite nice. And there's a fair amount of applications for it already. You know, I can't get into what they are.
Interesting. We're going to get into that.
We do
later.
have a fair amount of applications for it already, and
okay.
You know,
okay, I have lots of questions
for that
take
part. Time.
Yeah,
it's going to get the store filled with standalone things.
Right. Right.
Some people get it out quicker. Some people are going to take some time.
Okay.
But we'll have some big name things in there, like, you know, that are people recognize, and some.
This whole standalone part is going to be really interesting, and it's a whole section of today's show. So this might take a bit longer. But you know what?
I'll talk about one thing you were asking about. Yeah. You were asked about what doesn't work. I guess.
Right.
Or what we're evolving right now. And one of the things we're evolving right now is what you get when what you can see in the standalone mode. And you know,
exactly, that's super interesting.
Yeah. So when you move to standalone mode on these new headsets, you know, it's a lower FOV and a lower refresh rate and lower resolution. So, you know, it reduces the amount of data that the XR2 has to deal with. Now, our XR2 is a lot higher clock than because we have active cooling. It is it runs much higher bandwidth than like a Quest. It's actually dramatically faster processing than existing XR2s.
Okay.
It's a high
and
clock.
in that moment, I must ask the question, how loud is the active cooling? Because I have some active cooled headsets and I don't enjoy them because the fan is so loud.
Right. You can hear it. It's like a low hum right now.
Okay.
And that's one of the things that they've improved a lot from the first ones I had. The very first one, I remember the first one I saw, I laughed about it because it sounded like a vacuum cleaner, you know.
Okay, and so that's probably my first reaction when I started the HTC Focus 3. When I thought, okay,
I would say, let me put it this way, it's much quieter than the Focus 3.
Okay,
I have a Focus 3.
Yeah, me too.
And I'd say it's half the volume of that right now.
All right, but for the Focus 3 in the very beginning, they had the problem that it would accelerate, you know, the frequency of the thing.
Right.
And that was the problem. This like driving it up and driving it down, like this was crazy. Now for the Focus 3, it's also like more constant and it's more bearable. So compared to that more bearable, you would still say that this is not as loud as the Focus 3?
I'd say this: when you're using a real on the standalone, it's much quieter than it is when you're connected to SteamVR PC.
Okay, so SteamVR PC is louder. Okay.
Yeah, it generates more heat when you're running a higher FOV, you know, and you're running the processor all the way. Everything is running at max. But when you run standalone, it's pretty quiet, and it's much quieter than it was in the early days when I first got the original samples.
Okay, so good to know.
That's an industrial design thing, and that you just constantly try to evolve as you do new prototypes. So what our expectation is to have it to a decent level before that is a big consideration, is getting it, you know, because as it gets warmer, the fans get louder. And so, you know, but I'd say it sounds like almost like a small one of those tablets, almost like a tablet PC that has active cooling in it.
Okay. Yeah, right. So now we've heard about the battery before the standalone stuff, and you know what? Let's have a look now
Yep.
at the pictures. This is going to be interesting. So this is a world premiere now. These are pictures that no one has seen before, and the 453 people who are watching this live right now, and on the German
Yeah.
stream, another few hundred, they're going to see it now for the first time. And these are pictures that you actually took of the device that's right in front of you, so we can show it better. And yeah, get ready, people, to make screenshots and to share that on Twitter, because this is going to be a world premiere coming up. I didn't say coming up in the beginning. Too bad. So now, get ready for this world premiere of this year. Okay, Kevin, what are we looking at here?
Yeah.
What is that?
So you see the joystick controllers there. You see the 12K. You can see the Wigig adapter on it. You also see the battery assembly. I have a second prototype Wigig adapter laying there, and then the base station. And the base station is our new Pimax base station that you plug into the PC. Remember, 60 gigahertz is line of sight, so that has to be it has to be in line of sight with where your headset is. So you have the battery, the joystick controllers. One thing it shows is the joystick controllers are clear. You can see a clear, but in the final versions, it won't be like that. They'll be opaque. When we're testing, we don't use the special paint or the special covering. But and then on that one, like I say, it's got both 6E and the 60 gigahertz installed. But that just pops out. And then it has a magnet. You can see where it's connected by a magnet on the top.
So here, this part here, there's a magnet.
Got a magnet
here
inside the cable, right?
Okay, and here this is a USB-C connector, right?
Correct. No, no, that's actually a kind of a proprietary connector for the Wigig.
Right.
It uses the physical USB-C connector, but the actual protocol right now is different.
Okay, and this so this here is the same like this, right? It's just you just put it there to show it. This
right. I just have two of them.
Yeah. Okay. Good. You're lucky.
So,
and this here, this does remind me of a Dyson fan.
I saw someone say that.
Just a small Dyson fan. So this is the base station that you need for Wigig. And how would you connect that to your computer? What is the connection?
It connects USB-C, and we have two versions. We have an HDMI one and we have a DisplayPort one.
Okay.
This one in the picture is an HDMI one, but whether or not we'll release it that way, I don't know.
Okay, got it. And I saw a question in the chat, like somebody was asking, okay, one is enough, or is there any chance that you could probably have like two base stations?
Question.
Because this is line of sight, right?
In theory, you could have more than one.
Okay.
In theory, although I've never tried it that way, so I've only done it with the one.
So what kind of range does this have? Like where would you put it? Where would at what height would you put it? Sorry?
Yeah. I just put it on a table. We just put it on a table. We were playing around with it at CES in Vegas, the early version of it before this one, and we were able to move all around the room, and then later on, we set it up in a little office, and we were able to move the entire office, which was a good 25 feet at least. Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, it can fit pretty much any play space.
Okay, but you do need line of sight. It's really important to tell
people,
right?
I was going to say that right now some of the things that you have to evolve is what happens when people walk in front of it? What happens
Right.
when something gets in the way, and how bad is it when that happens? And getting that where it's smooth is key to the development process. So,
Like, shouldn't you like put it up at a certain height to look down on the play space? Because you said you
you
put it on
can,
the the
although we
table.
didn't have, to, we didn't, and we don't. It's I just put it on the table, and
Okay.
I just make sure it's at least 4 or 5 feet. It doesn't work if you're really close to it, like within, say, 3 feet.
All right.
But
Okay.
but
The
it works.
Dyson, the Wigig
Yeah.
base station. I like it. Okay. Yeah. Nice.
Also, it can
Looks good.
theoretically, we can do a version of that has where it can also do, potentially, we showed it in the Pimax Frontier, but we also are going to do a version of that has a processing power in it, where you can store the games in it, and has essentially a video card in it,
Hmm. Hmm.
kind
Okay.
of like a Steam Deck sort of thing.
Got it. Yeah. Let's talk about the battery. So
Sure.
it's 6,000 milliampere hours. You mentioned
Right.
it. And yeah, it's hot swappable. That's what I personally find is interesting. So does this mean that somewhere in the headset there is a secondary battery to make this happen, like some small battery, so that just it won't
Right. It works
lose?
just like the sword controllers do. Right.
It works just like what?
The sword controllers for the hot swapping.
Okay, yeah, it's
Yeah.
cool. That is cool, and it clips in, and then you
Right.
would simply take it out. And okay, so
What I like
how would?
about it,
Yep.
I like it as a counterweight. It actually worked out really cool. It actually puts some extra weight on the back of your head, and it pulls it down. So it pulls the headset off your nose. So you don't have any
Right.
weight. You have almost no weight on a 12K on your nose. It's all, it's more centered
Okay.
than previous headsets that we've
Hmm.
used
Okay.
or
So
manufactured.
so how heavy is the device with that battery? Well, you do need that battery anyways, right? Even if you would use it in a cable version, you would still need to have the battery inside the device.
In the version I have, yes.
Yeah,
But
but it makes sense because
it
the XR2 is still working for the tracking, right?
right. Whether or not it'll still be that way upon release, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
How? Yeah.
right now, it has to have the battery in there no matter what.
Okay. How much time do you have to hot swap? Black Sun 75 is asking that right now.
In the samples, you have about 30 seconds or less.
Okay, yeah, I think 30 seconds should be good enough. I
Yeah,
suppose it's not so complicated to make this
I didn't
happen.
time it.
Yeah, right, right.
I didn't
Um,
actually time it, but you can just pull it out and put it back in.
okay. So how heavy is the device with that battery
This one is
in
about
it?
the same weight as an 8KX,
Okay.
roughly.
Yeah, so can you tell us around yeah, how heavy is that for people who don't know the
I don't.
8KX?
I
Like
haven't weighted. It just seemed the same to me. I'll actually. What I could do is, after this, I could put it on a scale
yeah.
and then put it out there for you.
Okay. So
But I don't know.
right, right. Okay, good. But it's good to know that it will be around the same like an 8KX. So
Again, that's subject to
it's
change,
yeah.
because over the development process will affect that some.
Yeah. So
So
same weight with battery or without battery?
it's a little bit lighter without the battery,
That makes sense in
and
general.
slightly heavier with the battery.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised that it's heavier with the
yeah.
battery. Okay, got it, got
I
it.
meant then the AK,
Then the
contrast
AK.
to the
Okay, then the AKX.
AKX.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah,
Good to know. Yeah, all right, all right.
it's
Cool.
definitely lighter
I
than
like.
8KX is with
Yeah,
without the battery.
I like I like the idea of it being a hot swappable battery. Will you be able to charge the battery like outside of the 8KX? So will you have some kind of charging station
Yeah.
for that?
Yep.
Okay.
We do indeed have a charging station. And it's just you just take the battery, snap it right into it, and plug it in.
Is it an accessory that you have to buy, or is it something that comes with the device?
It's going to come with it. The
Oh,
charger
okay,
will
cool.
come with it.
Charger will come with it.
And it's
good.
and the one I have is a plug-in one, but we probably might do it USB. We haven't decided if it's going to be plug in the wall or USB.
Right.
But the one I have is a plug-in with a power supply.
Okay.
But that subject to change. It either way is easily possible.
Okay. So I suppose it's not going to come with a second battery. So I suppose you're going to sell the batteries as an accessory. Is that right?
It will come with a battery.
Yeah, of course, it will come with one
battery and the charger. Right.
But not a second battery.
Chargers and batteries separately, along with all the other accessories for this. It'll be
okay.
As you know, we have accessories for the 8KX, and it'll be similar with the covers and all the things we have. So,
any
of course, with the 12K, you get a lot of accessories with it. You get the eye tracking and facial tracking, and all those kinds of things are part of it.
Okay. Any idea about the pricing of an extra battery?
No.
Okay.
No way to announce the price. I don't think it'll be expensive though.
Okay. It's
an inexpensive. It is a completely custom device, the battery, but it's not expensive. So it shouldn't be too bad.
Okay.
But it has one battery, and it'll have one battery in the box.
Right. Yeah. Cool. Let me.
We could always do a bundle. We could always have a bundle where you get the joysticks. The base bundle that we've been talking about will come with the joysticks, battery, charger, headset. You'll get the DMAS, essentially the DMAS 2.0, which is the new DMAS included. You get it's enough to do everything. It's enough to do everything with the right out of the box. Is the idea.
Okay. So what are we looking at here right now?
We don't want people to have to buy base stations and controllers and things like that is the idea. We want people to be able to plug it in and turn it on and use it right away.
Got it.
Like a Quest.
Right. What are we looking? Yeah, but it's going to be more expensive than $349.
Well, sure.
So what are we looking at? Yeah, indeed. What are we looking
functionality, at? We want it to be just turn it on and go kind of thing.
Okay, cool.
And which is on an 8KX, you don't have that, and it's turn it on, and you connect it to your PC. You've got base stations have to be all positioned, and there's a fair amount you need to do to set it up. And we want people to be able to turn this thing on and play a game in 10 seconds.
Okay, yeah, I like that, obviously. So what are we looking at here right now? Probably this is the area here where you would insert the battery at the back of the head strap.
The battery adapter. Right, and the head strap and the new speakers.
Right. So this looks quite similar to what we have on the head strap that we have right now, right? The 8KX head strap here with this knob.
Slightly redesigned version of it.
Okay. What did you change?
It has the mechanism for tightening is a little different. The shape for your head is a little different. And they've done some. It's like almost all the parts in this compared to the 8KX, and then going back, it's an evolution.
Okay.
So every part is a little bit tweaked.
Right. Like I can remember that you told me when we spoke last for the 8KX head strap that you would need to actually put the back part a bit more down, right? Then actually you would think you should do. Is it the same here, or did you improve on that part?
Yeah, no, this one is the hinge is it's got a new hinge that just where you can just rotate it all the way down instantly, so it's much easier.
Right, cool. Yeah, let's see what other pictures we have here to show. Oh yeah, that's going to be interesting. So let's talk about this picture here. Controller. Yeah, we see the controller here for the very first time. And yeah, this is still a prototype. Right. So this this is not going to be transparent, obviously, in the final version, but we do see here sensors to pick up the infrared light, I suppose. Or tell us more about the controller. It does remind me of obviously of the Oculus Touch controllers. But that's in my book that's not bad because they are good, right?
That's a popular and
You're right.
particular layout, and these are optically tracked controllers. So the headset is doing most of the tracking of the controllers. So they put out infrared LEDs in the controllers. As a result of that, they let the batteries in the controllers last a very long time.
So yeah, basically very similar to what we see with the Quest, because it's the same technology.
The batteries in these things can last. I have never even charged mine. I mean, let's put it that way. It's been a while.
Okay.
I charged it a month ago.
Right.
So
is it the same like with the Quest controllers that you put in batteries, or would you charge them? Because we don't see a port here on this picture.
The battery, that whole side slide, it works just like the sword controller does, where the slides off and you put the battery in.
Okay, so here we see a bit more. Yeah, very familiar setup, right? So here,
joystick controller.
We see it here for the first time. That's cool. Exactly. Does this come from the same company that does the Oculus Touch controllers?
No, we designed this thing entirely.
Right.
Still a work in progress. Obviously, we haven't completed the ring opacity and all of that just yet. But you can see it works fine, and you can see it.
Okay, cool. Very cool. Cool to see it. Cool to see it here for the first time. Yeah, well, in my opinion, it makes absolute sense to use the Oculus Touch setup, right? Because it's simply the most used setup here. So here we have the menu button. We have
a menu button.
Menu button.
You got the trigger
as well. Yeah. So
joystick, A and B.
Okay, but also tell us about does it have any kind of capacitive touch like the Oculus Touch has, or is there any kind of finger tracking?
That's to be determined. The Sword controllers do have the electronics in them for that. Whether or not it'll make it into this, I don't know. We've produced versions.
That sounds like a clear no to me, honestly speaking. Because you want to launch this in this year, right? So probably no.
Remember, these are all evolutions of things we already make. So we already have the touch electronics in the existing Sword.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of whether or not you can get support for it. In the software where you can build a bridge so that existing software can take advantage of that or not. We've never had a problem just having it in there and having drivers to make it work. But it's that's
the route that you could go, right? That's something that you could just do.
Essentially,
is it so much more expensive?
Essentially, it's not a matter of expense. It's a matter of emulating the index, that capability in the index. So there's your rub, so to speak.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
But actually having it in the design is easy,
Yeah. Got it.
But emulating the index controllers is harder.
Okay, good to know. So tell us a bit more about this part here. What is it for? Is it just for some accessories or some kind of strap to make them connect to your hands?
You can connect it to your wrist with that. You've got a little strap that goes on there. You can put your hands through the strap, or you can use that to connect it to your wrist.
Cool. Yeah. Nice. Great. And this comes this comes with the base version of this headset, right? So you
Right.
said
You
like
get a
you
pair of
want
controllers,
they
you
get
the
everything in
battery,
the box.
and
You get
charger.
okay. So let's go back
Right.
to the first picture, or I think that's the last picture you had here.
Was it?
Or I don't know.
Should
There's
be
more.
8.
Okay. Yeah.
Sent you
Right.
8.
There's more. There's more. Oh yeah. There's a lot more. Cool. Great. Yeah. We'll get to the other pictures in a moment.
Okay.
Right. So in the box, you will get that inside-out tracking, and you will get those controllers. Everything is there basically. Basically, you want people to use this with these controllers. It's not about making people use the Lighthouse tracking, right?
Yeah. To use Lighthouses, you have to change the sleeve.
You have
And
to change the sleeve. Oh, let me just
yeah.
let's have a look at this here at this picture. So is this here the area?
That entire piece comes off.
This
All the way.
this
Move the mouse back. Move the mouse back to the other way. Towards about right in the middle. Little to the left. Right. Well, it ends right there is where the sleeve, that whole piece right there.
This thing here, this whole thing,
Yes.
you would pull it off for the modules.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So if you want Lighthouse tracking, if you want to use your Valve Index controllers,
Correct.
you would have to purchase the Lighthouse module.
You would have to purchase the Lighthouse sleeve, which is the whole.
Yeah.
It's a faceplate.
Right.
And that whole faceplate comes off. So you can pull that off and put Lighthouse tracking in. We also have a version that has cameras on the front.
Yeah. Okay.
And it turns it into an AR device, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Yeah, we want to talk about this as well. I'm just wondering, when you come out with this, will the Lighthouse module be ready?
I don't know. It should be.
So in general, you're banking.
It's not a difficult. The team. I don't have one, but the team keeps telling me that it's laughably simple.
Okay.
So for them,
good. Yeah, right.
And they keep saying that, so they're like, we don't need to send it to you because it's so easy. I'm like, okay, I'd like to see it anyway.
Yeah, me too.
They sent one to Martin.
Yeah, I know that the community cares about Lighthouse tracking.
Yeah, and me too. I have
me too.
My whole setup is Lighthouse. So
exactly. But would it be correct if I say that for the PIMAX 12K, your priority will be the inside-out tracking, and this what we see here right now?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the base device.
That is the base device that everybody should.
The only thing that doesn't come with the base device is the 60 gigahertz adapter.
Okay, got it. So, how good would the tracking of this be? This is, of course, the main question. How good would the tracking be?
I think that's the least glitchy aspect of it as far as being completely done. The audio is completely done. The tracking is completely done. The 60 gigahertz is coming along really good. The tweaking is still on the Wi-Fi and some of the eye tracking features, but and the dimmable backlight. It also has HDR algorithm, and that part I tested on the prototype we had in Vegas, but it doesn't. This one doesn't have it.
Okay. Of course, we are wondering about the tracking capability because we have seen other devices with inside-out tracking other than Meta, and they did not track so well in all cases. So the question, of course,
this is four camera high-speed tracking.
Yeah,
and
the question, of course,
is the newest version from Qualcomm.
Okay, the question is, of course, what about the tracking volume? Is it comparable to that of the Quest 2? How about problems
volume? What does that mean?
Like volume means like how far will they still be tracked without losing tracking? Like for the Reverb G2, for example, the tracking has problems in the very top or in the very bottom. Also, how about occlusion? How well would that tracking work? And
Yep.
yeah, did you have to invent that all by yourself, or is it something that
No.
Qualcomm just gives you and then you build on top of it?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. No. Qualcomm. We work every day with Qualcomm on the new version of the high-speed tracking, and they have an algorithm that they've been evolving. That was part of the development process provided, and they still are upgrading that.
Hmm.
Um, it's some of the best tracking I've seen for this kind of tracking. I'll tell you what's I noticed about it over the other headsets I have, just to give you a comparison that
Yeah.
might be useful. I have a Quest 2 and I have a G2 and I have a bunch of headsets, but I'd say that the where on my Quest we're really dark in the room. I have problems, and I noticed that this works in a much darker area really well than my other headsets do. So it seems to be able to operate in a non well lit environment, you know.
Okay.
And
All right.
so
So
that's one of the
confirmed.
improvements.
Tracking better than
The other
Quest 2.
improvement, I'd say that the odds are good that this will be for this type of tracking the closest that we've gotten to Lighthouse tracking without the base stations. So
All right. Nice.
um,
Um,
it
cool.
is next gen tracking of this type.
Okay. Great. You know what the community actually on the German live stream, what they're wondering is, could you show us live right now how you take off that module just to show us how that would work? I mean, the front plate. Could you just show us how you can rip that off?
No, they don't want me getting into any of that. They want to save
Okay.
some of those things for another.
Okay.
They want to
Okay.
do. They want to actually have. They want to do through the lens. They want to do a whole
Right. Okay.
list of things. And before this, actually, I was planning to do some of those kinds of things, and an email saying they
Don't
wanted
do
to
it.
show it in a separate an event.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But yeah,
I
right.
even
But
had photos
I,
of it that I had done to send you,
right.
but they said
Yeah.
no.
Okay. Fair
But
enough.
no,
But it was
there's a
worth
lot
a
there, and
question.
plus there are some features that this has that are one of the features is kind of a game changing thing that I use with it every day that is awesome and that I would love to talk about, but uh, I think people will love it, and it's something that it's going to be the kind of the meat of of a show that'll happen pretty quick, and
Okay.
it'll be kind of the hook, I think, for the next one. So we'll actually demonstrate some of these new features, you know.
Okay. Cool.
But
Yeah. Looking forward to that show.
yeah, they want to hold back some features to be kind of hooks for the future shows, you know.
Okay, good. Yeah, yeah. We don't need to do everything in this one show, but yeah, I still wanted to ask. Okay, cool, cool, very cool. Now let's get into the questions. So the community has some burning questions that I will now ask. And
Okay.
the first question obviously is, what is the target product launch window? When you told us about the device last year, you said it would be Q4 2022. Are we still
Yeah.
hot with Q4 2022? And when will people be able to pre-order this? Is there going to be some kind of pre-order mechanism, or how are you going to sell that?
Well, we have the trade-in program, and
Yep, we're going to talk about this in
which
a
is
moment
a
too.
big.
But
We have
yeah,
thousands of people who have said they wanted to do that. So, but what you'll notice first is we're going to put up a website where people can sign up for that. They won't have to send in their headset. There won't be any money, nothing like that. It'll just be where you put your name in, and so we know how many. The idea is to get a handle on exactly how many trades there will be, and then calculate the processing order for shipping headsets
okay. For
on the
all the
trade.
people who are not
It's
aware
still
of
going
the
to
upgrade program,
timing.
it's
Yeah, on the
you promise
timing,
people.
it still
Sorry,
be
yeah,
Q.
yeah. Go
Yeah,
go ahead, go ahead.
on the upgrade program, I'll just say any headset from Pimax that you buy, you'll get whatever you spent on it as a credit against the 12K. So if you spent $1,300 on your 8KX, you can subtract $1,300 from the price of the 12K. And
How
on a
far
trade-in,
back does it go?
you'll get
Like
essentially
for
you get
example, if I bought the
as
8KX.
from to day one. If you bought a Pimax 5K Plus, if you did a Kickstarter, we'll still honor that. So whatever you spent, you'll
Really?
get.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I really wonder how you can make this happen, honestly speaking. It's like if I buy like a
We want to. We've
8KX,
had
it's
this
crazy, man.
discussion internally a lot, and what we want to be as a company is to have it where if you get into doing Pimax things, that we just continually have things that is good to be part of our family. So we always want to have where there's a benefit having a. We're still updating the firmware for the old Pimax K 2015 even today.
Okay. Okay. So this is
And
this is some interesting information here right now. Whenever you spend any buck on any Pimax headset, it is going to be put against the price of the Pimax 12K Qled. Is that correct? Please confirm again.
Yeah, any headset, any Pimax headset.
Yeah, okay, but
So,
what if I have
no other brands.
all right, okay, yeah, obviously, but there's no having to
Right.
send it back. I don't have to physically still have that. I have already sold it. Let's say I've already sold my 8KX, but I still have.
No, you have to. It's a trade-in program.
Oh,
You
okay,
have to
that's
send
important
the
to
headset
understand. You have
us.
to send the handset. Yeah, that makes sense. So you have to send the headset back to you.
Right.
So, okay, you're going to get lots of packages.
Yeah. No, we've had literally thousands of emails from people wanting to get started. Get their name in and ask, hey, make sure I'm on the list. you know, and
Okay.
but all you have to have is your receipt. The only
Okay.
thing you have to have is your receipt.
hmm The only thing, the receipt
And
and the device.
we ask
What
for
if the
proof.
device is broken? It's not working anymore.
Yeah,
Is it?
we check it. No, we check the device when we get it. It has to be a working device in reasonable condition, and you have to have a receipt. That's
Okay.
it.
What if I bought it secondhand from my best friend? I don't have a receipt. I have it. I have the device, but I don't
You,
have a receipt.
you broke up there. I didn't hear that.
What if I
What if you
don't?
what?
What if I bought it secondhand from a friend? I didn't get it from Amazon. I didn't get it. I don't have the receipt. I just have the device. What to do?
You have to have bought it from. If you bought it from a friend, you would need to have bought it from eBay, where you have a receipt from somewhere we've heard of. We're not going to accept receipts from good buddy Bob, who writes a receipt for you and says it's $2,000 or something. We can't accept handwritten receipts or receipts from just between friends. It's got to be something we've heard of.
Okay.
We actually have the rules on our website. Rules are fully documented.
Okay. But how can you make that happen? It just sounds too good to be true. I mean, you must somehow make money as a company, right? There's going to be lots of
The
people
headset
selling the
won't
old
be
devices.
free. You'll still be, yeah, the headset won't be free, but it'll get you a device that has the highest specs of any device that's ever existed for about the same price you paid for your 8KX, and I will tell you, this device is relatively expensive to make, as you might imagine.
Yeah.
So and it's with Tobii eye tracking, with all the sensors and microphones and the Qled and the special dimmable panels and the Wi-Fi and all the batteries and standalone. It's a complex
Yeah.
device. So
That's why I'm wondering, how is it feasible for you as a company then, if you have to have all these rebates going on? Like, there's going to be lots of people who will send back in their devices. So
I hope so.
So the
I hope
question,
so. We want to have a big. We want to have. I'll give you a little insight into the motivation, if that's of any use.
Yeah, of course.
Number one, we want to have things for Pimax customers that make it worthy of having a Pimax for moving into the future. That if you have one, we'll offer you something to move up to the next device. number one. But number two is this is the key. This new line of devices we call the Reality Series has a standalone capability. And for the standalone capability to be worthy of developers to develop for, we got to get a good population of them out there. So if we released the 12K and didn't have a way to increase those numbers early on, it would make it a lot viable for developers to start developing. So this is also a means to get a nice software platform with a good population of software for people, and nice prospects for the developer community that's writing for this. So in Q4, when we release the 12K, we want to have, it needs to be sexy and good for the developer community, so they can sell their software and make money. So there has to be enough headsets out there to do that. So we have a lot of plans on how to do that and get the population high. So our goal is for this to be a high volume device. This is these devices, the Reality Series is designed to be high volume, and everything about it is designed to be high volume. Everything from the tooling to the way it's assembled, all of that is designed for it to be a device that is built in the many thousands of units per week.
Okay.
So
how does the process of
3 plants now?
Okay. How does the process of making this upgrade really work? So there will be this website, and let's say I want the 12K Qled, and I did buy an 8KX. Do I first have to pay the full price of the 12K Qled first?
Nope.
Okay, so
we're only going to
how is
charge
it going
you
to
the
work out?
difference. And so there will be no money involved when you sign up. We just want to get a handle on how many trade-ins there will be, so we know, get an idea of how many people we need to put on it and those kinds of things. But there will be a website to sign up, and that'll also it'll set the order that it ships in as well, and for the trade-ins. And then also, when it gets to where we actually have a unit for you, and the unit is manufactured, then we send you an email and you pay.
Okay.
And that's when the trade-in process happens.
Got it.
I didn't want to get in a situation where people sending money and sending their headsets before they get a new headset.
I like it.
That needs to happen right quick.
Okay.
Yeah,
I understand.
And I didn't want people to think that the 12K is like a Kickstarter or some kind of money raising thing. So we're not going to do any of the money, none of those kind of things until there's a headset for you. Yeah.
Okay, got it. So does it also mean that people who will not put up an old device, they're going to be not prioritized? So the people who sent back an old device, they will get the 12K Qled first. And those people who want to get into Pimax for the very first time without doing this trade-in, they will be on the back of the list. Is that correct?
Yeah. Although I'll say, like I say, this is designed to be high volume. We already have 3 working plants, employees trained. It's not like it was before. We used to have to hire a bunch of people, and we would have to train them and work in the factory. And we had to do. There's so much to bring up our capabilities to build thousands of headsets. I mean, we have a large population of 8KX. We build thousands and thousands of them every month, and in all of our headsets. Remember, we have 7 models, 4 active that we have to manufacture now, and that's a big job. And we also have the new sword controllers. That's a whole new line. We have a lot of other pieces that we make, so packaging and all that, and we have all that now. So this is designed where the manufacturing will be at a much higher scale early on in the process. I don't think that there'll be the sorts of ramping that you would have seen before. So
okay.
We've already been doing the tooling and everything for these new. So it's a process already. It's only March, and this is going to be Q4.
So you are
another cool thing about the training program is
I'm sorry, guys.
Oh, yeah.
We do have this kind of latency here, so that's why sometimes we talk over each other.
This
so
now
that's
are better than the 8KX was. These are better than the 8KX was during the development process, and the tooling and all the pieces are pretty far along. So, but and remember, a lot of it is from third parties. The Tobii eye tracking is from Tobii, the Qualcomm, the camera system, and all the tracking from Qualcomm. We have a lot of partners in this. With this new headset, our LCD panel and our LCD backlight, a lot of them have a lot of customization that we worked on with our partners, but they're actually doing the manufacturing for some of those pieces, and we're doing the integration. So this isn't the leap that it may seem,
right? Right. And, so you mentioned that you have everything ready, the tooling and so on and so forth, and that Q4 is still a go. What I'm wondering though, what kind of quantities are we looking at? Like probably lots of people will want it, like especially if the first actual tests are well. If I look through it and I like it, or other people, of course, will you be able to satisfy demand, or is it only going to be like a few 10, 20, 100, like we saw with the very first 8KX models, or is it something that thousands? Okay, so thousands. Okay, that sounds good. I like the ring of it. So basically, people who want it will get it.
Yeah, it'll be. We have, like I say, a lot of infrastructure now. I remember when I started at Pimax, we only had a small number of employees when I first started. And now our business offices alone have a couple hundred people. Yeah. And then you have all the factory and all the contractors, and there's a lot of people involved in this company now. And
okay, got it.
We have 3 plants, numerous production lines, and we have tooling and testing and kinds of automated testing for all the hardware that's coming down the line when it's being manufactured. And it's all evolved over the years, and so we're in a different place as a company goes than we were. People can get an 8KX today anytime they want. You can buy on Amazon, or you've been able to in high quantity for. They've been available widely for a year and a half, so we're quite capable of this. And the 5K Super and all of our are built in pretty large quantity. So and some of the pieces that we're working with Qualcomm on and Tobii and all that. Qualcomm is a manufacturing giant, and as far as these kinds of things, and so is Tobii, and they're all this is not their first. Yeah. So all of our partners are are veterans. So
okay,
I don't
thousands
see
of
any issues.
Pimax 12K Qled coming up. Okay, good. Thanks for the answer.
Yep.
I received another question from the German stream. They are asking about the trade-in. We want the details, obviously, since we're German. Yep. Are you back?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, they want to know about who's going to pay for the shipping. Is it going to be like, okay, you will give them some kind of code, and then they just pop it onto the package and go to the post office, or they have to pay it first, the shipping?
It'll calculate the shipping when you go to the website to do the trade-in. The customer pays the shipping, and it'll figure that out when you do the cart, when you get the email. So here, however, there is good news when it comes to the shipping, and that is because we have depots this time, and we have regional depots.
Right.
We have depots. We have 2 in the United States. We got some in Europe. We have 1 in the UK. We got 1 in France. We got 1 in Poland. We got depots now, and so you don't have to ship to China. You only have to ship locally to your region. So your shipping will only be for that. So you won't have say I have to do shipping labels with customs and all that for sending stuff to China. You'll ship. It'll be local ship, and then your return device should also be local. So you'll get the 12K will come from a local depot.
Okay. So it's not going to come from China. Okay. All right. Cool.
Correct.
Cool.
And we're going to try to avoid that. Yeah.
Great. Next question is: are there going to be cheaper 12K units? Because you said like this is a whole new platform, right? It's the Pimax reality platform, and
It's
I
a
didn't
series.
receive.
It's the
It's a
reality
series.
series, the
It's the
P3
reality series, exactly.
series.
So lots of people are
Right.
actually
So we
excited
used to
about it.
call. So for example, we used to the AKX and before all the way to the 5K plus is the P internally it's the P2 series. So they call them the P2, and it says it on the serial number. If you look at the sticker on your headset, you'll see P2. All of those are the same series, even though they're AKX is a much as you've noticed yourself in your own testing. It's far cry from what the original 5K plus was back in
Yeah, right.
2018. Everything from the comfort kit to the speakers and a million other things are all new. But you evolve from a base platform for the P2 all the way to the 8KX, which is essentially the ultimate P2. This is the P3, and so the P3 platform is going to have multiple headsets this year.
All right,
So
multiple headsets this year. This is interesting for
right.
all the people who are like watching the stream and who are out there for the scoops. Multiple headsets this year, and well, so this is the flagship model now that we're looking at, the 12K Qled, and
Yes.
well, the flagship means it's the most it's the king, it's the most expensive one. So most probably that means cheaper versions of this are coming up. But
there will be more than one headset, and they'll have the features that they have will be commensurate, with the price. So you can imagine that that for the most part the features will be some subset of the 12K.
Yeah, because not everyone needs that 12K resolution, in my opinion, right? And not everybody, but it will be able to drive that anyways. Okay, cool. That is cool. You can probably not tell us more about those cheaper versions, right?
Again, we're going to have that is people were asking, hey, when we were doing the previous shows, like after CES, we were supposed to do some things. The team was really adamant about announcing, having a companion announcement that was supposed to go with this discussion and some of the things you wanted to do. And they wanted to announce it together, and that was going to be kind of the big piece. And and so that companion announcement is the announcement that's not ready yet.
Okay.
So
but it's going to happen soon sometime.
That one's it will. I don't know exactly the day, but it'll be soon for sure.
Okay.
It's something we've been working on for months to develop all of the all the things that go with it, through the lens, graphics, and all kinds of cool stuff that we've been working on. That's what Martin's working on. That's what he does,
Cool. Yeah, looking forward to that.
We also have Josh,
series.
who's also working for the work is new for the company. Josh, who did Pimax Frontier, he was our announcer. So,
I can remember.
You'll see him, and he'll be back.
Cool. Looking forward to that.
He works full time for Pimax, So.
All right. Okay. Yeah, that was interesting to know. So there are going to be cheaper versions of the series, and they are going to happen in this year, and we are going to hear more from them soon. That's a cool thing to get from this stream as well. Perfect. Talking about price,
it's a series, and we're really excited about all the pieces to the puzzle for this new series.
Yeah, right. Okay, talking about the price. Somebody in chat said, okay, it's starting from 2,400. So what is in that 2,400? You get the device, obviously. You get the controllers. It's inside-out track.
You get charger,
one battery, the charger. Yeah. Okay.
And 2 controllers.
Okay, cool. So
and the headset.
The 2,400 is excluding taxes. It's still taxes will have to be paid. Okay.
And then on top of that, you would have the Wigig if you
want. How about the modules? Could you tell us some prices?
You get all the you don't get the body tracking. You don't get the body tracking one.
Right.
And the body tracking one connects to this port here on the bottom, right here.
Yeah. How expensive will the Wigig module be?
We haven't announced a price yet on that. I don't know what the ultimate price will be, but our goal is to offer that for all the headsets that we produce. In addition to the Wi-Fi, we want them to be able to have the Wigig compatibility too. So we want to keep the price low on the Wigig module. So our hope is to make it reasonable.
Okay, so the Wigig module will be compatible also with the 8KX.
No.
Okay, just this
nope.
just this series.
The Wigig is not compatible with the 8KX. Okay, there's electronics in the 12K needed for the that was the whole thing about the AKX. It was the problem with Wi-Fi or just wireless in general, was that when they were working on that engineering, that they found that there were parts that really needed to be on the main board, for it to work.
Got it.
And but never say never.
Okay.
On that.
Okay. Let's go to the next part of questions. And the next part of questions, they deal with the lenses. And could you again, please show us the lenses, just as if we were at CES, and I would look at the lenses like very closely. So please take it up and show us the lenses. Can you get a bit closer? Oh, damn. Yeah, it's a live stream. It's a live stream.
Yeah, it is, but that's okay.
It's okay, yeah.
It's not made for that.
Can you put it a bit closer? We cannot see it very clearly now. A bit closer to the camera. Yeah.
I can't really get close to the camera.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yep. Yeah. This is good. This is good. Okay.
Oh, one thing else you can see. I don't know if you can see it here. Right here is the sensor. That's the mouth tracking sensor.
You know what? Actually, when I just saw it, it somehow reminded me of the lenses of the Star VR1. I don't know. It's just like it made me remember the Star VR1. So just how they looked. So that is interesting. Because I did like the Star VR1. There was really I couldn't see distortions. Oh, now I'm gone. Yeah, that's my camera, but that's okay. You know how I look like. Let me turn it. So about the lenses, but now it did look like a Fresnel lens. It did not look like this kind of bionic thing where in the middle it's like a clear lens, right? Like when we just saw it, it looked like the whole thing is Fresnel.
The center is aspheric and the edges are Fresnel. One thing about this strap, by the way, let's talk about the strap just a little bit, just for fun. This strap has been replaced multiple times because it has the magnet in it.
All right.
It has a magnet that's integrated into the strap, and the very first ones that we had didn't have the magnet. So when you would plug the Wigig module here, it would just kind of flop around. So we replaced this piece with the one with the magnet in it, so the magnet is built in right here. See how it's rigid right there? Right. Got a magnet inside there. So you can see it. Actually, you see it. But anyway, it's got a magnet inside the plastic, inside the rubber, and so this is not the final version of that, but and it also has a second magnet back here, right there.
For what is the back part?
We have other pieces that can potentially connect later on, and we wanted to have a magnet in the back for those too. That way you can use it for things like if you have a cable, you can adapter that lets it connect with the mix on there. But we had a lot of ideas, so we've got two. But that's the thing that's been evolving some is the positioning of the magnets and
Let's get back to the lenses. Now, the question that I would like to ask you: some people have problems with the Pimax lenses in general. Like they would say, okay, they somehow cannot really look through them. They feel eye strain.
I lost your audio.
Okay,
we're having some.
Yeah, but now are we back? I think now we're back, right? Check, check, 1 2. Live
There you are.
stream.
There you are.
Okay.
Okay, I hear
Yep.
you now.
So okay. So some people report that they have problems looking through Pimax lenses. They say, okay, they develop some eye strain after a while, and they feel there's a problem with the binocular overlap. And for some people, actually, it's
Yep.
impossible to use a Pimax headset. There's still a big difference between like putting on a Meta Quest or some other headset where they don't have any problems, but for Pimax headsets they say, okay, something is off
All right.
with the optics.
Let's talk about that.
So did
Let's
you
talk about
did
that a
you
little bit.
okay, did you solve that problem with
So
the
number
Pimax
one,
12Q?
the overlap. Well, there's multiple things about it. Number one, on a Pimax 8KX, the overlap is 86 degrees. You know, on for example, on most headsets, it's around high 80s, 90 degrees at the most is usually the overlap. This has 118 degrees overlap. It has a massive overlap compared to, that right there makes it very friendly on your eyes, and you can really tell. So that's number one. Number two, the Tobii eye tracking adjusts your IPD automatically. It actually analyzes it and you press the button on top, hold it down, and it'll set the IPD. So you have an IPD analysis when you put it on. So it doesn't have this manual dial like the 8KX has, where you move the dial around and try to find the sweet spot for you. It finds the sweet spot for you. And the cool thing is another person can put it on, hold down the button, and it'll adjust for them. It's real quick. So you have that. It has a wider range of IPDs that it can work with as well. So you have it can go smaller and bigger than the 8KX. So it's about 15% smaller and bigger on both ends. So you have a wider range of people that can use it. Goes down to 55, IPD of 55 on the small end. And me, I'm 58, and it works great for me. So I can get it real clear, and it does adjust automatically. Another thing is the high contrast. The new panel has a very high contrast ratio, so you get that makes it feel much better too. And you can really tell. And mine is not even fully activated for that with the dimming backlight yet. Mine has more of a stand in the sample. Martin's has the dimming, but even mine has better contrast than an 8KX or any of my other headsets. So it's very nice. And so when you combine all of these things, you really do get a much more comfortable experience that's much more automatic and much less dependent on you adjusting colors and adjusting the IPD manually and trying to figure out how far your head needs to be from the lenses and all of that. You just don't need that with this. So
the automatic IPD adjustment, it's like motors that really move the lenses.
The overlap, the very large overlap that it has makes it so natural, because it's almost, we're talking about an overlap that's like 35% wider than your average headset has. In fact, the Aspheric piece it's 105 degrees of Aspheric in this sample, and the other ones it may be different, but the Aspheric piece of this one is pretty wide. It's wider than most, and so it's a pretty big chunk of your field of view is Aspheric. So
okay.
The overlap, the entire overlap is inside the Aspheric part of the lens. So it's very comfortable compared to other things. Night and day.
Okay, night and day. That sounds good. So this Aspheric part and the Fresnel part, I got lots of questions asking, can you see that part going from Aspheric to Fresnel? Is it like a visible frontier basically that you can see? How is it?
It's like looking for the Fresnel in the Pimax now. You can see it, but only if you really. I have a hard time seeing the bands when I'm looking, but Is it impossible? No.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see it just like you can see Fresnel in any other headset
Okay,
in the transition
I
feature.
think the people wanted to know about this
It's no
border.
more obvious.
Hmm.
I'll say this: it's no more obvious than it is in any headset.
Okay. Okay, good to know. Now, of course, we're interested about the distortions. Now, in the Frontier event, well, you proclaimed that distortions are gone. Would you stand by that? And would you stand by that for the largest FOV? Because that is, in my opinion, still a problem of the 8KX, for example. I do agree that it's way better, and that's
You know
what I
what the
said in my last
difference is
video. Yep.
for me? The difference is the edges on this are so much they're further out into the so the further away from the center it is, the harder it is to even see, and you know, and so it's difficult to even see the edges so far back. But so it's hard to say if what you're seeing is but if you just look forward and then you look one way or the other directly, try to look at the edge, it's hard to see the edge on this thing even when you rotate your eyes and you look one way or another.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But that's where Toby comes in, and Toby, with their optimization for the lens and the dynamic distortion profile that they have, and we've been working one with them in a partnership. That's what that's all about. So that whole partnership revolves around the lenses and the distortion profiles and that aspect of it. But again, it is it's wider, so those edges are not even in your view at all.
So probably there might be some distortions, but it's just so far away.
I see any, but then again, it's I guess that's subjective, but
yeah, of course it is. Okay, so but how could you make it so that the FOV is even wider? Because there must be some kind of there must be some restrictions physically. Like obviously you also try to max it out on the 8KX already, the field of view. Right. So how is it that now it's even more? How can you achieve that? The displays are still canted.
The 8KX, the original lens design and the canted displays and all that were back from 2017. You're talking 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So so the team has been for the next generation headset has been working on bigger, better lenses the entire time almost. So I've seen many samples of wider lenses with over the years, that I've been with Pimax, and that's an area that we focused on early, and but we've been working on the distortion profiles on the 8KX and other headsets that we make over the years, and people can see the differences there too. I think even you said that you saw improvements there over the years. So
I did a lot. It's a big difference than before.
I think we've come a long way with that, and I think most people would agree that we've come a long way. Imagine how far we can come when we start in a better place. In other words, we start with a lens that has aspheric elements in it, with a Toby eye tracking that feeds data for that distortion profile based on the shape of your eye. We're starting in a much better place. And remember, the edges of it are much further around the side. Mm-hmm. So and another thing I didn't even mention, the vertical FOV on this thing is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. And so, you have the actual view you get in these things is just amazing.
Yeah,
and that's when I'm really excited about when we bring the YouTubers in, and whenever we do that, and we have some kind of a gathering, and everybody gets to try it. I'm really looking forward to those reactions. I think
me too, obviously.
So
cool. Yeah, like when I saw those lenses, they so remind me of that Star VR1 lens. And for the Star VR1, also, there was like this huge FOV, which was like 220 diagonal or something. And it is possible. It's possible. I saw it with my own eyes in that Star VR1. And those lenses they remind me so much of these lenses, and there was actually really no distortions for the Stavia 1. So I do believe that's possible, and I can't wait to see something like the Stavia 1,
And
but with a high
they had an
resolution,
early
right?
implementation. I would say they had an early implementation of a very similar setup
Okay, cool.
uh,
Cool.
on the Star VR1, and this is this is a FOV um, that's along the lines of that, except it's a much higher resolution and refresh rate than that was,
Yeah.
and and we have some features that aspect of it that we'll be hitting on one of these days. So
Okay. Looking
I
forward to
think
that.
people will love it.
So I suppose this headset does not have eye relief, as in being able to put the lenses further away from your eyes if you wear glasses,
Mine
or?
does not, but that is something we're gonna add, I think, before it was released.
Oh, really? Wow, that would be big. So eye relief confirmed.
Well, again, it's one of those things that it is in the. If you look at the official specifications that were announced, we do have adjustable eye relief in the list.
How would it work?
It's the what I'm told is that the faceplate, which is essentially what we call the comfort kit on the 8K, that's where you adjust the relief. But and where it's adjustable in that piece where you can move it in and out. But on the AKX, the only way you can adjust the eye relief is with the thickness of the foam.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
And that's not, and that needs to be so. My understanding is it's in the comfort kit piece.
That would be good. Lots of people like eye relief in order to get even closer to the lenses, or if they wear glasses.
It works with my glasses. I can put it on with my glasses now, so it's fine.
Okay, that would have been my next question. Is it suitable for people who wear glasses? And then your answer is yes, and probably, okay, probably using that that faceplate, you could get further away. Actually, it makes sense to put it into that.
Yeah. Will cause that to be so.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good.
But like I say, we've made this really easy. The before with the comfort kit, you had to literally pry the comfort kit out. It was held on by friction, and on the AKX, you've got to really move it around to get it out of there. And on the 12K, it's held on with magnets, so it's real easy to change that piece out. Mm-hmm. You can just pop it out in 2 seconds and change and put a different one in.
Right.
So it's much better.
Okay, that is such an important piece of information that it's so easy to change, because like for the G2, because the first face gasket was not made for everyone. People were too far away from the lenses, and then they had problems with sweet spot and stuff. So it's important to think about that all the faces are different, right? So that is a good thing. That is something that you think about. Sweet spot is no problem.
Sweet spot on this is not a problem. This has the biggest sweet spot of any headset ever made. Mm-hmm. Easy.
I like it. Okay. So. And how about the edge to edge clarity? if you use your eyes to look like to the left and the right, is it like everything is still clear, or is it degrading towards the edges? Probably it is, because Fresnel, normally you have these problems, right?
Like I was saying before, the edges are so far away.
Yeah. Okay.
That they're so far in the. They're further than they are on the 8K, so they're significantly distant. Okay. But that said, we're working with Toby on edge-to-edge clarity, and it's got an improved lens design. We've been improving for 5 years the distortion profiles and gotten good at it. Now we have better hardware to work with on both the lenses, on the data we get from the eye tracking. Every headset that we make on the 12K has eye tracking and real-time distortion correction based on that. So that's something we didn't have with the AKX. We had to make generic profiles. Now we don't. They're dynamic profiles.
That is a piece of information that is huge. That is a huge piece of information here. So based on eye tracking, you will have
people
dynamic.
Will really appreciate that aspect.
Okay, so dynamic distortion correction based on eye tracking, confirmed.
Right. The eye tracking has features like foveated transport, and which is one of the ways we get the high refresh rate capability. It actually can transmit a lot more data across the cable, and a lot more data across wireless than is normally available. We have a lot of techniques that we use that are internal that reduce the data flow, the actual data flow coming across Wi-Fi and coming across the cable. So we have a lot of things in play that give you higher refresh rates and higher resolution, and so I think you combine that with the new lenses and eye tracking, and you really get a package that's visually impressive.
So
I think
the dynamic
people really like it.
Okay. Yeah, we do get some messages also from the German stream. And does the dynamic distortion profile work without having to change the apps in the game? So that's basically on a driver level, it will just work?
Yeah, it's most of the functionality of it is on the foveated transport is driver level. Now, what you're asking, what I think you're asking though is a different question, and that would be, is the DFR driver level?
This we'll get to that in a moment as well. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so FT is driver level, which is a different thing,
Yeah, right.
And then DFR can potentially be driver level.
Yeah, we're going to get to this in a moment when we talk about the displays. Yeah, so the distortion correction should work on your headset, right? Actually, the apps shouldn't have to do anything with it. That should
distortion
work
correction is driver level,
right?
And that happens in real time.
Exactly. That's what.
So FT is driver level, distortion correction is driver level, and DFR, that's some things we're working on.
Okay. Great. So that's about the lenses. Very exciting. Now let's talk about the panels. Lots of questions about the panels. Will the panels support high dynamic range?
It does. It uses an algorithm to calculate HDR. It's an algorithm that we've been partner on.
Okay, cool.
So you enable that in the driver.
Right.
In the new version of PyTool.
Okay, next question. How many nits does the 12K have? Like, how bright is it? That's really important to understand.
Yeah, that's to be determined later, because that is part of the tweaking that happens with the panel and the backlight. That's a complex thing, because the brightness is affected by the refresh rate and how fast you can strobe and a whole bunch of other factors. So how much power is available at any given time, so on. So those are things that will 100% change between now and what we have and the shipping product.
Okay.
So.
Okay. So yeah,
it's brighter than the AKX. Right now, it's already a lot brighter than the AKX is. Let's put it that way. You can really tell.
Okay. Good. So yeah, it makes sense that you're still working on that part, so that you cannot give any kind of final
but it's
answers.
Gonna be,
that makes sense.
That's going to be one of those things that
All right.
It's going to take. We won't know exactly until the Q4.
Okay. Yeah, so people are now excited about understanding more about the resolution. Let's say we're using that device now cabled to your PC, and we want to use it in 100% Steam VR super sampling. So what is the render resolution for that kind of we want to have it as native as possible.
They don't want me to get into that, but it is roughly 6K per eye.
Okay, but they don't want you to go into detail with that question.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, then.
Because I can answer why that is, I think.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
The native resolution is changing a bit from sample to sample and from firmware to firmware, because of the techniques that we're using to reduce the data coming across the cable with foveated transport, and with all the techniques, DSC and all the techniques, we're changing so it's moving around all the time. And what we settle on is going to be what the final native resolution is, but it's going to be roughly 6K per eye.
Okay, so with that resolution, what kind of hertz will you get? It's not going to be 200, I guess.
Correct. So at the widest field of view with the highest resolution, it's not 200 hertz, and it probably
How much is it?
You get the high refresh rate, you'll reduce the field of view and you'll reduce the resolution.
Right. So what are we talking about?
You would I mean, right now, I haven't seen I don't have any way of doing the refresh that high, even in a test. They say they can in the lab, but and we want to do we're in a future demo. We want to do some demos of it refreshing like that. But I've been told that they significantly reduce the resolution in the FOV to get there.
To get to 200.
So, yeah, to get to 200.
Yeah. Yeah, that is, that is
it
just one part.
It doesn't do it at the marketing.
Yeah, that is one part of the marketing that I don't like. Why would you put it out there? Like, wow, this is 200 hertz. The others can only do 120 or something, right? When actually, it's not going to be 200 hertz.
But if you think about it, if it does. But if you think about it, if it does 200 hertz at an FOV significantly higher than any other headset, and resolution significantly higher than any other headset, it's still a good thing.
Yeah, but you know what? But from the presentation,
do it at the maximum that this one can do.
Right. But from the presentation, we think now it is a headset that looks something like as clear as the Arrow, but with a huge FOV, and you got that 200 hertz, like
you gotta keep in mind
smashed into our faces, right? So that's why I think don't overpromise.
I would add, but you want to keep in mind that remember with the 5K Plus, we originally announced that the 5K Plus would be 90 hertz, and then a year later we had an up where it was 110. And then we did another firmware update, it was 120, and then we got up to 144. So even if you had an old headset, you could go 144 in many cases.
Yeah.
So,
but the thing is,
that's going to be a similar.
Okay.
In my opinion, we'll just. It's got capabilities that are way beyond any headset that we've produced before. So we'll just keep. It has a lot of running room because of the foveated transport, because of eye tracking, because of the DSC capabilities, new versions of that, and a lot of other techniques. So, our running room to do those firmware improvements that we're known for doing is much greater with the 12K than it is with the 5K Plus. So
okay. But you know what? Actually, I don't care about 200 hertz.
Get better as we go.
What I care about would be like the high resolution with a good FOV at 90 hertz at least. Is that something that you can achieve? Like getting close to the native resolution and
it does full.
Okay, good.
And that's all you can do. Yeah, no, that's all fine.
Okay,
it's
all right.
So when you start getting really high refresh, you start having, you start butting up against your video card and other things when you're starting much above that. So especially if you're playing games that are rough on the video card. So but you can go real high on things like Beat Saber and stuff.
Yeah.
So
all right. Yeah, for Beat Saber I don't really need that 200 FOV. But anyways,
pretty glorious. I haven't run it that high, but I've run it at 160.
Okay. Yeah, you know what? For me, I'm happy to know that 90 hertz with a native kind of resolution is a go. I didn't like the 8KX with that 75 hertz that I had. It was not nice for me. Like I would prefer other headsets, but if this can give me
nice
90 hertz, I'm
all these new things for the 8KX lately. Like FSR, XR toolkit. There's so many, and like Guppy Express has the parallel projections modification where you can remove parallel projection requirement for a lot of things. Mm-hmm. There's so many tools out there to do this stuff, and with a lot less requirement on your video card. It's impressive. Okay. And there's a lot more running room with the 12K, so for that kind of thing. And it's going to build on what we've done before. and it does.
Okay.
So
So, of course, now we want to know, wow, this crazy resolution in our standard right now, like 6K per eye, and you're trying to get more and more hertz through the cable. What kind of cable is it? What kind of connection do you need on the GPU? Is it something like DisplayPort 2.0? Is it two
yeah, this uses
DisplayPorts
DPU. This
1.4?
one, this sample uses DisplayPort 1.4s.
Okay, but what about the device that people will get? Are you looking at DisplayPort 2.0? Is it a requirement, or is it like
It is
you'll be
backwards
fine with?
compatible. So, but in theory, you could do that. But these current samples are DisplayPort 1.4, and on
Okay, like
the
one DisplayPort
Wigig,
1.4.
yep, on this
Okay,
one. But
yeah.
on the on some of them, some of the samples have two.
Okay, so what do you
So
think? Will the final one have? That's what interests us.
I'm I'm told that we do, that we do have some single cable solution versions. That's uh, the actual interface is something that's evolving. So
Okay.
um, there's a potential. You got to keep in mind when you make these choices. It's more than just being able to do it. It's also availability of the chipsets to do it with in enough quantity that we can produce it. So
Hmm.
the debate isn't whether or not we can do it. The debate is whether or not we can do it and manufacture it in volume. We know that we can do it with two DisplayPort 1.4s, and we know that we can do it. We can do things with the Wigig, and and wirelessly with using our base station, which we showed you earlier.
Right.
But but um, but will we have even a third port on there? In addition to the other two, where it's a single cable, or will it just be one? That's up for the final interface that it has is something that's being determined. But
Okay.
that's an easy. That's not a. None of those things are showstoppers, really. So they don't
Right.
affect the development.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about motion reprojection? Is it something that's going to be there on day one?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It
Okay.
has motion projection. It has it works similarly to an 8KX when it comes to that kind of thing.
Okay. So this is not done by Steam. This is done by PyTool.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Um, how good does the picture look like? It's a very simple question, but I simply want to know. So I know how an AKX looks like, and
Subjective.
yeah, like how like compare it, like
Colors. The first thing you notice are the
yeah,
colors. So when you
better.
try, the first thing you notice are the colors are much richer and the contrast is much higher.
Okay, that's good to
Uh,
hear. I think that's a weakness of the
the
AKX.
versions that I had, the ones that we had at the samples we had at CES had some of them had one of them had the dimming backlight, and that one had really dark blacks. And you notice that right away. Um, the colors are much more accurate, um, and it's if you were to say, hey, make a cross between an LCD and an OLED, it's kind of like that. It's kind of the way to think about it. But
Hmm.
it's since it's a QLED, it can have a very high refresh, and with
Okay,
none of the OLED problems. And OLED is a enigma wrapped in a question when you get it to operate at a high refresh. I mean, Sony supposedly has solved the high refresh problems with R2,
yeah,
and but again, getting that kind of panel in high quantity. There are a lot of very low quantity panels where you can buy like 50 of them or 100 of them that are high tech, very high tech. But if you're going to try to sell in the thousands, it's very, very difficult.
hmm
And so what we have to do is build things in the thousands. So we're using the QLED panel with the dimming backlight.
got
So
it.
That's going to hold
So
back a lot of people, by the way. I think, just my opinion. Apple and others are their challenge is going to be in the volume, and Apple needs
okay,
very very high volume,
yeah, of
and
course,
so does Sony
yeah,
and VR2. So it's for them, it's going to be challenging to ramp up those to have a real yield, and I imagine they will. They're excellent at it. They have an army, you know, but uh,
right,
but smaller companies though, trying to get high yield out of some of these things is a much harder thing.
of
So
course.
I imagine they're going to struggle with that, you know.
Mhm.
So
But Pimax not.
can't hear anything. It went silent.
Yeah, I was wondering. Yeah, so you said like companies are going to struggle with that, and my question was, but Pimax is not going to struggle with getting quantity for these panels.
Well, that's the beauty of Pimax actually that I've found is that if you're Apple or Sony, you need a million of something, or Oculus or Meta rather. You can't go in and buy a new panel. You need millions of panels. You need a million panels a month. You've got to have these really incredibly high quantity. And we need 25,000 panels or 15, 20, less than 50,000 panels for each run.
Okay,
And
okay,
it's a different. We're big enough that they want to deal with us because they can. The yield doesn't have to be ultra high. So we're in that position where they were interesting to panel manufacturers because we're running enough volume where it's worth it. But we're not running this incredible volume where you need a million panels at a time every month. So. But on the other hand, if you're a company that's only selling 100 or 200 or smaller volumes,
got
it's
it.
really hard to get a panel manufacturer on board with that because the volumes are so low and that your cost per panel is going to be so high that you need to be in the 25 and 50,000 units or more in most cases to
Okay,
do
got
business
it,
and volume business.
got
Yeah,
it, got it.
but a
Yeah. So
million, that's a hard thing, and that's why Meta and Apple and,
right,
and, and Sony
right.
have a challenge and a genuine one. These are the latest panels they want to use, and the yield in some of those is like some of them it's like 1% and 2% and stuff, and it's very difficult.
Right. Yeah, good that you are in this position that, yeah, you're not affected by this so much. So, talking about the colors, so you said they're better. How about the blacks? How good are the blacks? Are the blacks OLED black?
On the
What?
sample on the sample I had in Vegas, the blacks were uh, excellent, and it had the
Yeah.
dimming backlight. And Martin's got one with the dimming backlight, and they have it at the
So,
office. This one has the improved backlight. It just doesn't have the dimming firmware, but it doesn't even have a controller that can do the dimming actually. But theirs do, and I've been able to test it, and it's impressive. Um,
okay.
Even the samples that I have are impressive on the blacks compared to LCD. Um, so it can actually, it's the way it actually does the strobe does a much better job of dropping back to black. And so on the backlight, and it comes down to how fast the light falls off when you
Mhm.
strobe.
Okay.
And
So, mhm. So how many backlight zones do you have with that panel? How many? Yeah. How good is the resolution of the backlight
they'll get
then?
into the specific specs, but I can tell you it's certainly a breakthrough
Okay.
value there.
All right.
But I'll say I can't see the zones even when we do the
Okay.
pixel peeping
Okay.
on
Cool.
the
Yeah, that is
samples we
good
had
then.
in.
That is good then. With
Because
that kind of,
you can create demos where you can see the edges of the zones,
yeah.
and Martin and I were doing that to the edges, and so.
Okay. Um, does this technology in VR have some problems with kind of like shining effect that you can, yeah, see
You mean
see
like
that
God
backlight?
rays and things like that?
Yeah, God rays was more for the lenses, but also
Mura.
display technology, this kind of backlights. If you have a certain zone, the backlight going on, but then it's bigger than the actual pixels that you want to make brighter, you have this kind of shining around them.
The
bleed,
fall off.
exactly.
You're talking about the fall off bleed.
Exactly.
That's one of the areas that they've improved. That is the main improvement that it has.
Okay, cool, great.
And
good to know that.
So the backlight technology has come a long way, and you're going to see not just with Pimax, but with other VR headset manufacturers where that problem is reduced rather dramatically, I think.
Okay.
Because when you mix these new backlights even with an old panel, like if you take one of the new updated backlights with an original LCD panel, you still get much better contrast. Really noticeable. Yeah. You could theoretically have an 8KX with this new backlight, for example.
Okay. So that was the part about the colors. Now let's talk about clarity. Like in my opinion right now, the king of clarity is the Vario Aero. Super nice visuals. You've probably also looked through it. And
love what they've done.
Really impressive. Really impressive headset. Yeah, me too. So how would you compare the clarity of the Pimax 12K Qled to that of the Aero? What? Yeah, tell us.
I would say that it's on par with that, and it's especially on par with it in the center 135 degrees, and and then as you go out, because of the way the rendering happens and the foveated transport, as you go out, it's less.
Yeah.
So the way it's done. So it's in the center area, it's really, really impressive. And I wish I could talk more about that, but we have some technology that we're going to be talking about that revolves around this sort of thing, and that we're going to announce in a rather quickly, I'd say.
Okay.
But yeah, we have some really exciting things related to clarity to talk about.
All right.
And
yeah,
we even provided a little hint in Pimax Frontier with another capability is called FRC. But it's essentially a camera, kind of like it's a projector that projects very high resolution right in the center of your view.
Yeah, that's actually what I wanted to talk about next. Yeah, because we have some
samples that have that.
Yeah, the fixed Retina display, something that actually, something that the Vario headsets also have, not the Aero, but the others, the VR3, for example. And it was in your in the Frontier event at the very end. So is that still a thing? Is it going to happen for the base?
Yeah,
model,
so that uses FRC, which is the retinal compression and the retinal display, which is a projector, and it has its own video stream, and it's basically an extremely high resolution projector,
right?
And whether or not and samples that I saw of that use their own cable, separate.
Right. But you cannot tell us if this is going to be happening.
It will happen.
But it's not the base model. It's another model. It's the Pimax 12K Pro.
I don't know. We'll see. That's one of those things that you'd like to get in there if you could, in the base model if you could, but it may, there's no promises that'll.
Okay, so I take this as a no, but probably there's some more, room for other models down the road. Yeah, it would make sense, right?
Part of it hinges on how much data you can have, because you don't 3 cables.
Yeah, 3 cables would be overkill without a doubt.
Which the sample I saw that has that does.
Okay, so, got it.
So yeah, So yeah, I mean, whether or not when we're constructing the final version, in the next couple months, because it has to. We have to get this thing completed in the next, the final tweaks, uh, in the next 60 days or so, and in order to produce it. So, you're going to see a lot from us in the next couple months.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. This stream already is super interesting. So, yeah, that's cool. That's that's really.
We got a lot to show, a lot to say, and we want to step it up.
Yeah.
On that aspect. So, there's a lot to that. But technically, it's something that we have been able to make work. So, but making it work and getting it into a production product that you build in the thousands, you don't want to delay the whole headset over that.
Yeah, right. That makes sense.
So
that makes absolute sense. That makes absolute sense.
It all depends on how far we get in the next month or two.
Right. So
we've got some fundamentals that need to be 100%. The wireless.
That makes sense.
The dimming backlight.
Right. Right.
Some.
That makes sense. So
tracking.
Right. So we're looking at a headset that has great colors and clarity, close or like on par with the Aero, but with a wider FOV. Sounds so good.
Much wider.
I'm an enthusiast, so it just sounds like what I want, obviously. Yeah.
The Vario's got, it's super clear, and the FOV is pretty small, and but I really, the clarity on it is just wonderful. It's actually pretty amazing, and their achievement is wonderful. So
so we touched on that area before. We're talking about the foveated rendering, the dynamic foveated rendering that is based on eye tracking, and you already mentioned that it's going to work on the driver level. So it's nothing that has to be patched into the games. Is it going to work?
FT works on the driver. It has to work on the driver level.
Okay.
So it's the foveated transport that has to work. That's how you get all that data across.
Okay. Yeah. So can you tell us the difference between foveated transport and foveated rendering?
Sure. Foveated transport reduces the actual data that is sent. Mm-hmm. So it's a way of reducing data across the cable or across wireless. And it makes it now, and DFR changes the rendering profile.
Right.
So when you have a rendering profile, rendering profiles are where you reduce the load on the graphics card. Now, foveated transport has some effect on that too, but its main primary purpose is to reduce the actual amount of data that has to come across whatever your transport is. Mm-hmm. So you have FT, and then you have to send. So for FT to work, you actually send back to the PC or what is, and if it's standalone, you're sending back to the XR2. If you're running on the PC, you send the request back to that, and it determines what to send in real time, mm-hmm. and thereby reduces the amount of data coming in. But DFR, which in Tobii speak is called Spotlight, is a different thing. That reduces the amount of actual work the graphics card has to do in calculating textures and shadows and doing the rendering. So you can reduce the actual horsepower required in the areas you're not looking at in real time. So both technologies are real time. They can both work together at the same time. And combined with things like DSC and other techniques, you can dramatically increase the actual amount of data that you're getting to the headset in real world terms on what is rendered and what you can see. That's how the high refresh rates are possible. That's how a lot of these things are made possible. So,
okay. And yeah, will this
But
work on day one, the dynamic foveated rendering and the FT? Is it something that will just work with games without having to think much about it?
yes,
Okay.
that you don't have to.
So,
You don't. There's no configuration for that at all.
okay.
It's
And
all done in
we don't
hardware.
need any special yeah, game patches. It's going to work on Microsoft Flight Simulator directly on day one.
You can run Microsoft Flight Simulator on any Steam compatible headset, pretty much, or any headset in
Yeah, I
general.
know, but I mean,
But
does it work directly with this dynamic foveated rendering?
uh, it works with the foveated transport, and having your DFR support is going to require some work, but
Okay.
we've seen that it can be done. So
Okay.
it's something that we're working on to see how many applications we can get that support into. So it's something that we have experience, and we're working together with Toby on it, and so they're a wonderful partner when it comes to that. And we wanted to work with as many things as possible. So, but
All
and we would
right.
love it if it was universally, if it's a driver level. Is the ideal scenario is that it's driver level.
Of course. That's what we hope
Across the
for.
board.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
And that's the goal.
Yeah, right.
And that's
Right.
the goal.
Okay. So now we're getting to a part that many people are waiting for. And that part is,
Okay.
what kind of GPU do you actually need? What are the required specs? Can I run this beast of a VR headset with my 3080? You know, I don't even have a 3090. Probably I would need it. Is it something that would work with, or is it actually really more like, okay, let's wait for the 40 series. Let's wait a couple of years until we can run this. Tell us what we need for
no,
this.
you don't need the actual requirements are very similar to the 8KX. So,
But how's that possible? Because so many more pixels need
because
to be
it's using
rendered.
foveated transport. It's
Okay.
because it's using
Right.
you have the same amount of data coming across the DisplayPort 1.4 cable as you do on an 8KX anyway. So, and you can as far as up to a certain refresh rate, you can run the full resolution and the full FOV over one cable, and that's because of foveated transport. Now, if you want to use other techniques with it, and like I say, there's a million techniques out there. You can remove the parallel projections from things. You can FSR. There's the OpenXR toolkit, and there's dozens of tools now that we didn't have before. So on top of all that, you have the Tobii Spotlight. So, I think that most people will not need a high-end video card. That's some
Wow, that is good news.
video card. I've been getting the same frame rates out of it as I do on the existing 8KX. So
wow. Okay, that is amazing news for everyone who's watching this right now. So
subject to
Kevin gets
change
the same
because
FPS like on the 8KX for this.
subject
So
to change because it's something they're changing all the time. But that said, I don't see it changing. I think it's a good bet that you're not going to have that much more requirement than you have now. So
yeah. Could you explain to us again what would be the difference between foveated transport? Is it comparable to display stream compression? Why is the foveation important for
that's
that?
another technique. You have
exactly.
DSC, foveated transport. You have DFR, which is spotlight, and you have actually numerous other techniques too. And then that's before you even get into the software side on your PC, and with the techniques. So
it's just
and then of course you can also attenuate the refresh rate. So you can attenuate your base refresh rate if you run at 90 hertz, for example. You save some data there. But there are now dozens of ways to attenuate this, and we're in a better place now than we've ever been with regard to hitting high frame rates
Okay.
People are hitting frame rates on the 8KX that we never even heard of a year ago in the same
Right.
software.
So
So
the eye tracking,
and
the eye tracking part
that'll
is super
continue.
important for that to work, right? It has to have eye tracking for
It
the
is.
foveated
Just know
transport.
that this has all the tools that you had with the 8KX. It has all the tools that you had before with a bunch of new ones mixed in. So uh, that include foveated transport and spotlight. So and actually some other things. Uh, so you have all the existing tools plus new ones, and that's before you even get into having new video cards, you know. But
Okay.
I think most people will be satisfied with a 30 series, even a mid-range one would work. Again, it's not like saying the bigger the better. A video card, you could have any headset in a nicer video card and see some improve and see at least a little bit of improvement. You know, you could have an Oculus Quest 2 and get a 3090 and see some versus your 2070 and get improvement. It's always true that a better video card can theoretically do better. You do more super sampling, you do all kinds of things.
Course.
But the same is true with this.
Right. Right. So that eye tracking the eye tracking that's built in is so important, right, for this device because you couldn't do things like the foveated transport.
Eye tracking is very important for this device. And again, since it has onboard processing capabilities where the 8KX and our other headsets do not,
right,
there's a lot of things that are offloaded, like the audio processing, the tracking, a whole bunch of other things are done in the headset that required processing time and coordination with the PC. And so you have added processing that you didn't have as well. So in addition to the eye tracking and the new techniques, you have onboard processing capability, and you have a lot of new things in the toolbox that we didn't have before. So I really don't think, I think that someone says, hey, I got the 4090, yay, right? Well, that's great. You'll make good use of it, you know, no doubt, no matter what headset you have. But in my opinion, it's not going to be required. Nothing near it is going to be required.
Okay, so. Well, that is actually great news. So I would be perfectly fine with my
3080. And it hasn't been, yeah, it'll be fine.
Okay.
So.
Okay, well, that was actually one of the most asked questions. Like, wow, what do I need to make this happen, to make this work? But yeah, now we understand better that the technologies, right, to compress somehow the data.
You can apply all the techniques that have become available. And if we can build some of those techniques into the driver, you know, we're looking at doing building different kinds of techniques into the driver, give you more tools, you know. And do things that, you know, expand what you can do from the driver side.
Okay.
And so that's kind of some places we'd like to go.
Okay.
With the next steps.
Good to know. Yeah, the next area of questions will deal with wireless, and that's the part where you said like this is like the biggest thing that still has to be resolved. You're not ready with this, but still I do have some questions. So you have two modes of wireless. One is Wi-Fi 6E, right, and the other one is Wigig. Could you shortly explain to us when Wi-Fi is used and when Wigig is used?
In theory, they can both be used for everything.
Okay.
Downloading firmware, downloading software into your, you know, into the memory of the headset, which this one has 128 gig. Downloading profiles and all kinds. You can do the normal wireless things that you could do from inside the headset, but you know, and then you have the standalone mode where you can boot the thing up and operate it with no PC at all, of course. And then the Wi-Fi works for that with all the connectivity that you need for that. You know, I would say that there's actually, you know, Wi-Fi 6E is not sufficient to run a headset like this at the full resolution and the full FOV and the full refresh rates. You know, you have to cut it down very significantly to run on 6E.
Okay.
Uh, and if you want to get anywhere near what the headset can do, you have to run Wigig.
Okay.
We actually, I would mention that we actually have two adapters in testing. We actually have since it's an external adapter that plugs in here. I showed you the pictures of some of the samples.
Right.
One of those is actually not a Wigig. One of them is, and one of them is a wireless HD, which is a kind of a competitor.
Okay. So
So
you're
we
still
have both,
trying out it.
and
Mm-hmm.
which one we will actually release, or release both, unknown.
Okay.
They both work,
Mm-hmm. Got it. So for
but
the
working smooth is the key. Wireless
yeah, right.
HD has higher bandwidth than Wigig,
Okay.
by the way.
So for the Wi-Fi 6E for the kind of streaming, are you building your own streaming software, or are you working together with Virtual Desktop, Gigodin, or how is it? How do you work on that?
One of the apps we've been working on is a movie playing thing that you can do from inside the headset. We got a lot of cool apps that you can run in the headset. We've got a lot of third parties that we're working with that are writing both for the PC based things and for standalone things. And so we've got both aspects on that. But yeah, we're about to, I think, in the next, you're actually going to see us do a launch very, very, very soon. That kind of gives people an idea of what that'll be. And so you can keep an eye out on the pimax.com for announcements in the next week or two.
Mm-hmm. I think you misunderstood my
talk
question.
about they have
my
some of those
question.
aspects.
My question was for the streaming, for the Wi-Fi streaming. Let's say I want to do something like I do with the Quest 2, like virtual desktop, right? Using Wi-Fi 6E. Like for that streaming solution, are you working on your own solution, or
When
are
you
you
say
working?
streaming what?
I mean, streaming
Media
Steam VR,
or
Steam
streaming?
VR. I'm streaming Steam VR content. That also works via
Okay.
Wi-Fi, right? Via Wi-Fi, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
in a
so
lower
that
resolution, a lower
right,
FOV.
right, exactly. So for to make that happen, is it an application that we know like virtual desktop, or are you building that by yourself?
We're building that.
Okay.
We're building that. We have our own apps, some of our own apps for it, and we have third parties too. And we hope to have things like virtual desktop and all kinds of things like that.
Right.
But
you should totally work together with
do have some of our
Gigodin.
own
He's
apps.
so good in this. He's so good in doing these kind of things,
we,
right? So,
anybody that wants to develop for this, we'd love them to contact us, and we can work on getting a sample.
Are you already in touch with Gigodin from Virtual Desktop? We want.
That's a good question. Not me personally, but I don't know everyone who's. I know that we have hundreds of developers that we are in contact with. I don't know if he's one of them.
He should be a priority, in my opinion, and the community for sure also things like that. Because Virtual Desktop is just so good.
There's some that I love Virtual Desktop. I love all the mods like Luke Ross mods, and some of these things are so cool. You know, I want to make sure. I mean, clearly we can run all of these on the new headsets.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So Virtual Desktop is not yet confirmed, but you want to work together with others. So if you're not yet working with Gigodin, hopefully you do. Hopefully,
if anybody wants to reach out to us related to that, we would love to talk to them. And we would love to offer these apps both in standalone and have ones that are kind of optimized for this via Steam.
Right. Okay, so
but you can do both. That's one of the cool things about the headset.
Yeah,
that
is
you can
interesting.
Run it either way.
That is interesting.
If you just want to watch, in theory, if you just want to watch movies, you can do it on the battery, sit in bed, put the headset on, watch a movie, and have a pretty amazing experience compared to something like a Quest.
Yeah, yeah. Thinking about this right now, when it's cabled, when you use a cabled connection, would you charge the battery automatically so that you don't need to exchange the battery? Because the XR2 still needs to be powered, and the inside-out tracking still needs to be powered by that battery. So in the best case, the battery would be charged by that cable somehow.
Right. You in some of the samples you can plug it in while you're using it, and it charges the battery.
But that is not confirmed for the final one, or
yeah, I've seen samples where the charger connects to the cable,
right,
just like an old Pimax did, with the power supply.
But that is not yet confirmed how this is going to work.
Yeah, I imagine we might go USB with that. There are versions that are USB too, but where it can. And I don't know if I haven't tested it to see if it can charge on the USB, because mine is. So, but I'll have to test that after we get off and see if it actually is charging the battery. I've been taking it out and putting it in the charger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it won't boot without it.
Yeah, right. So that's an important question, because people will want to use that cable longer than the 2 hours.
The one that I have will not boot without it.
Okay.
But whether or not that'll be available when it's at release, because we've still got some time. So we've still got some 6-8 months before this thing releases. So
yeah, you will be very busy. You'll be very busy, it seems. So talking about the Wigig,
I think so.
Are we talking about the protocol 802.11ay, the latest one?
They don't want me to get into the protocol, though. I can only say that we have a Wigig module, which is in the picture, and we also have a wireless HD module, which is also in the picture.
Okay. All right. So what kind of software is going to be used? Is it going to be the same PyTool software, or is it going to be the Pimax experience that I recently tried out and that I actually liked? But I did hear from this is going to be the same?
Our intention is to develop. We have been developing new software. You're going to see the new Pimax software even for the old headsets. So
okay.
We have all new Pimax software in the very, very, very late stages. So, and it has the Pimax store and integrated.
That is interesting. So it's going to be a complete new software, basically. Is it in PyTool, or is it a totally different piece? It has a different name, or what is it going to be?
Right now it's called the Pimax PC app. That's the name.
Oh,
I wasn't a
what
real
an inventive name! I like it.
Yeah, I had another
Pimax
name
PC
I floated for it that they gave the big thumbs down to, but I thought was a catchy new name for it. Maybe we will. But yeah, right now it's called the Pimax PC app. And
Pimax PC app coming up here. Okay, so
coming very
in
soon.
that Pimax, in this Pimax PC app, you will do all of the settings, and you will of the game starting, just like in the Pimax experience before. And there's the store for the standalone headset.
It has the PC VR store too in it.
Okay.
So it has two. It has both. Right.
So that means that you will get into competition with Steam. You will have your whole platform for PC VR as well.
Right. What's going to happen is in the next little bit, emails will start going out to people for testing of the new software. So that's what's going to happen. and
But
it's an alpha.
this is like super interesting. I want to talk more about it. That would be a completely new strategy. So you also want to become a gaming platform. It makes sense for the standalone. Obviously, you need some store.
Yeah, we've had Pimax SDKs going out for a year or so.
Okay.
And
so what about all the Steam VR games? What about all the developers? You need them to go to this new store to also sell PC VR games.
Still buy. This doesn't impact anyone. You can still go to Steam and Epic Store and all the other places and get Pimax things, and this will be where you can, in the future, where you can do it from inside the headset. You'll be able to do it from inside our software, and much more streamlined. And the cool thing is that the apps are optimized for Pimax. The apps that are there
that makes sense.
Have full Pimax optimizations in there for the wide field of view, the high resolution, for parallel projections, and the whole all of the Pimax oriented tweaks. But really, you can run anything on a Pimax. You can run Oculus things on, for the Oculus Home on a Pimax. So we're gonna keep all that in there as far as that goes.
Okay, so it makes sense.
Will be things that are optimized for it.
So the games in the Pimax store, even for PC VR, they will all be optimized for Pimax. Okay, makes sense. So
and we're working directly with a huge number of developers on these things. So
and in the standalone mode, how easy is it going to be for developers to port their Quest 2 games to that new headset? I'm sure that this will be like very important, right?
That's a key element. We've been making it as easy as possible. We've actually a key focus was to make it as simple and as seamless as possible to release things intended for Quest, intended for other platforms that are standalone for Pimax, and to make this possible. And the team has been a big focus of them is to get it to where it's a painless process. And have it where you can launch inside the headset.
Give us an idea about how many games will be in that standalone store once the device is out. Will there be like games that we know? Is it like Quest 2 games?
Yeah. No, there's games that we know from publishers that we know, and there's a lot of them. So
a lot of them. Like what is it? Like more than 10, more than 50, more than 100?
Who knows? Who knows? You'll get I'll say this: you won't have to wait long at all to get a taste of that.
Wow. Okay, that sounds interesting. That sounds very, very interesting.
On the existing, for the alpha will be released for the P2. So,
how powerful is the headset in standalone mode compared to the Quest 2? Because the Quest 2, we know it's a powerful headset, much more powerful, even though it's using the same chip, but you are cooling it down way better.
Yeah, they're running it. Remember, on a Quest, they're running it with passive, and it's and they're running it they're having to clock it so that it can operate that way. So and we're using active cooling. We have and we're actually running it at a very high. We're getting a lot more performance out of it. So it's dramatically improved over previous XR2s as far as the performance goes.
Okay.
So that's what the active cooling is for. So and the design is specifically designed to have faster memory performance, faster performance to the SD. All the design is designed to be higher performance than previous parts. Okay. The tracking is much higher performance. Everything about it is next gen.
So in the standalone mode, what kind of refresh rate are we getting, and what kind of resolution, and what kind of FOV? Like I turned it on for the first time in standalone mode. What do I see?
Well, it has a set of menus where you can launch things from. It's a launcher essentially, and you can change the settings, and you have a launcher, and then the launcher will install. kind of Questish launcher. And you can purchase things from in there, and you can do. There's a lot of free stuff, and you can do firmware updates and things like that from in the menus when you boot it up, and then you can launch direct. Use the controllers. You can launch directly.
Okay,
And
that does not really answer my question. What kind of
standalone
resolution?
experience. It's a full standalone. Oh, and in the
Yep.
settings, you can control the resolution. Right now, you control it, but in the future, each application will control it. So
Okay.
right now, you manually control the FOV and the refresh rate and those things inside the settings menu. And but in the future, we'll probably have it where the apps can define that based on how complex the app is. So if you play something complex, it'll set the appropriate, automatically set the appropriate FOV and refresh and all of those settings.
Yeah, but what are you targeting?
To answer your question is, what is it? And my answer is, it's different based on what you run. So when you run something really simple, you can go wider.
Yeah.
And the more complex it is, the smaller you have to make it. And the lower the refresh you have to make it, the lower resolution you have to make it. So
yeah, let's talk about, let's say, okay,
for simple things, for a Beat Saber sort of thing, for example, that kind of thing, you can run it at like 150 degrees at 90 hertz.
Yeah. So how about your typical Quest 2 game? Let's say something like Resident Evil 4. Is it something that you could play on a full resolution?
Yeah. So then it reduces the FOV more. So you go down to like, something lower than 150. So in some cases, significantly lower.
Yeah. And how about the resolution?
All the FOVs are high, pretty much all the FOVs are higher than what you see on like a Quest,
Okay. And what kind of resolution do you drive?
And the resolution is it's 2.5K per eye or 4K per eye.
Yeah.
And
that is still huge. That is still, quite a lot.
The density is actually higher, even in the low resolution mode. It's still higher than other headsets. So, generally.
Yeah. Actually, when I first heard about the device, I simply thought that the standalone mode would be some kind of gimmick, and that the most people would actually not use it. And people would actually use it as a PC VR headset, right? Those enthusiasts that we're talking that are watching. I think a lot of people will.
I think a lot of people will use it as a PC VR headset.
Yeah.
But even for people who use it as a PC VR headset, those people will benefit from having the onboard processing, because it handles your audio, it handles all automatic equalization, handles all your tracking, it handles the eye tracking, the distortion profiles, and a myriad of other things on board. It's like a PC VR headset on steroids, is what it is. Yeah. And you can there's so much that it can do, and the nice thing is you don't have to rely on this shifting sands of Windows, of Windows drivers and Steam drivers, and having the right NVIDIA. And in a lot of cases in Windows, you have to worry about some of these things. They say, well, make sure you update to the latest NVIDIA driver to do this and that. There's a less reliance on that, on this headset. So those shifting sands aren't there as much. So I think a lot of PC VR users will really appreciate the onboard processing capability.
Okay. Okay, cool. Good to know. So I'm wondering, how about in the future there would be like a third-party open store? Let's say SideQuest decides SideQuest is now becoming the OpenXR store for OpenXR. Does the Pimax 12K Qled in wireless mode or in standalone mode offer OpenXR compatibility?
It's not as simple as that.
Yeah.
I've talked to them before, but yeah, our plan is to get as many applications on this headset as possible, and there's a lot of ways we can do that. I can't get into how.
Okay. Okay, so you cannot talk about OpenXR compatibility right now.
We've got a lot of things that we're working on for the new headsets, and a lot of them revolve around trying to figure out ways to have as much software available for it as possible. Let's put it that way.
Let's leave it like this. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Very cool. Is the Pimax computer thing still something that you want to do? Because that's also something
you've seen a picture of it, of a real thing.
No, the Pimax computer, that box
Indeed.
that you mentioned. Okay.
In the pictures?
Really? That you sent to me?
There's a version of that has there's two versions of that. One of them is just the wireless, and the other one has some capabilities for graphics processing and other things. So, yes.
The Pimax computer, the Pimax box.
Yeah, that's what the wireless adapter can also have the graphics processing capability in it.
Wait. And this thing here, the Dyson thing, this is actually the computer.
There's a version, one of the versions we're working on of that is that, yeah.
Oh, really? Wow, that is news. That is actually that is a new piece of information. So is actually this, what I'm showing right now, this thing is the Pimax box?
It's both.
Wow.
It's the housing for the Pimax box version, and it's also
that is another scoop here, man, on MRTV. That is cool.
But we'll probably sell it at first.
That is cool.
Just with just the wireless capability, because it's different electronics that go in it for the different versions. So,
okay. Oh man, I'm a bit shocked right now, because before I just thought this is some small device, but now, yeah, if I see it on this picture right now, it's kind of big. On the other picture, it didn't look like this big. So
we did that for scale.
You're right. That makes sense. So that is the Pimax box. Cool. Looks cool. I like it. And this also it has the Wigig included then. This whole thing, the whole Dyson thing is the WiMAX antenna then, basically.
Yeah.
Wow. Now you got me speechless.
Two different versions of the same of electronics in the same box is what it is. So.
Okay. And this will be available when, and how expensive is it going to be?
Available when? The Wigig part we hope to have available very quickly. We hope that we could launch it together with the headset. And the Wi-Fi 6E is integrated into the headset. It's naturally part of it. So everyone gets wireless capability on the Reality series. Everyone gets eye tracking on the Reality series, and everyone gets the port where you can connect the Wigig, where you can do the 60 gigahertz. But I'd say I hope that Q4 release it's the same as the headset.
Okay, we do have some feedback now from the German stream, and the German stream doesn't believe it. The thing is, that box, what can it do? Like the question is, what is it able to do? So you don't need a computer anymore to run PC VR games. This is a PC. This is a PC basically inside that will play PC VR games, or what is it?
Think Steam Deck.
Uh-huh.
So it's roughly the power of a Steam Deck.
Okay, it's a powerful Steam Deck. What can I run on it?
In other words, if you're asking, do we include like a 3090 in the as part of this thing? No.
Yeah, right.
But it's going to have decent processing power in it that will allow gaming capability with no PC above and beyond what you can do with the capabilities in the headset on the standalone mode.
So what does it run basically? What is it?
Again, they want to do a whole event on this thing. So
okay, yeah, that makes sense.
I'm not going to get into the specs on any of this on this stuff, on that particularly.
So just tell me one thing. For people who don't have a gaming PC, can they buy this and then they can install Half-Life Alyx on this?
I think the cool thing about it is that you can on the standalone aspect, you'll be able to do standalone things. And for this, you'll be able to do standalone things at a wider field of view, higher resolution. You'll be able to do essentially the same things, but with higher refresh rates, higher field of view, and so on.
Okay, so this is not about playing Steam VR games. So this is about playing your mobile games, but streaming them from this device.
Yes, it'll have more memory, higher
Okay,
processing power.
this is really good to know. So no, people, this is not a PC. You're not going to play Half-Life Alyx on this, but you will be able to play those
You might
mobile
be able
games.
the variety of things it can run on it, though, is much more because it's more powerful. So,
right.
But that's something we'll get into later. But
okay.
But the bottom line of it is, it does give you a wider variety of things that you can do, and it gives you a wider variety of software that you can do.
Yeah. All right. Okay. But it's good to know. Like good that we talked about it, and there's not this misunderstanding. Okay, this box is just your 3090, and you can play everything about it. You know, that's good information. So okay,
what's cool about it is you could throw the headset in the bag, throw that in the bag. Headset runs on throw the charger in the bag, take it somewhere.
Yeah.
And show it off. And you could show off things with this box that's much nicer than what the headset can render on its own.
Okay, cool to know. So it's some kind of box storage, which has some kind of more storage. Yeah, probably more computing power than the XR2, I guess. I mean, I'm just guessing here.
Oh, yeah.
So yes, then some more things are just possible. Okay.
It definitely gives you a lot more capability than the standalone does. So
okay, yeah, good.
And it has more running room for added things.
Right, right. Could you give us a ballpark number in terms of how expensive this could be?
No, but
it's
yeah. I mean, it'll be. It's intended to be somewhere in in the low end, in a like a console type price. So console type price is what we want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense.
So
interesting.
It'll be relatively inexpensive and not anywhere near the kind of price this guy in the chat just said.
Okay. Yeah, right. Good to know. Good to know. Yeah, console price. Yeah, console price is like $400.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something like that.
Something like that. Interesting. Will be interesting to see what kind of games it actually could play, or how you would use that computing power. Because if already the device itself,
that's going to be something that we do an event on.
Right. Right. That makes sense.
And but we have a lot of accessories for this. A lot of ideas and a lot of things that are in the works, that have been in the works for a long time. And some of them kind of hinge on it having some sort of standalone capability. Remember, all the accessories before, a lot of them had to be Lighthouse compatible, and they had to be within that ecosystem, which really depended on Valve. And so now, we're moving in a direction that allow us to manufacture a wider variety of things.
Yeah, got it. Interesting. What's the name going to be of this Dyson box?
Well, it'll be the initial version of it. So it'll be the wireless adapter, the 60 gigahertz adapter, and then later it'll be the Pimax station. I think.
The Pimax station. All right. And you're also aiming, just to reiterate, you're aiming at Q4 release as well for that.
Yeah. No, no, I don't know. I don't know when that'll be released.
Okay, you don't know.
The computer version of it will be after the headset's released, I'm sure.
Right, got it.
So,
okay, cool. So, Yeah, I guess you cannot share more details about modules like the Lighthouse, or is hand tracking supported, for example? Yeah, that is a good question. How about hand tracking? Is it supported?
Hand tracking is supported, and the hand tracking that they're working on uses the cameras in the headset.
Ah, okay, yeah, that's perfect. That's better. So you don't need to add some additional module.
Right. And the body tracking attaches to the bottom.
Okay, so the body tracking thing is real. It's gonna be a thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a partner company similar to Tobii and
Okay.
similar to Qualcomm and some of our other partners.
Right. Right. But
And it's something
what
that's already.
what would it support? Would it be compatible with VR chat out of the box, for example? That's probably something that people will want to use it for.
Yeah, you need a certain level of functionality with it when you release it. Let's put it that way. And that
Yeah.
would be
So you
my
don't have that
first.
right now.
That would
Yeah.
be
Okay.
that would be my first uh, wish to see it operating in. So,
Right. Right.
but the company working on it, that kind of thing is what it's made for, like
Okay.
VR chat.
Got it. So how about you mentioned the pass-through module? How real is that?
For the AR uses. Yeah. I haven't seen it.
Okay.
Um, it's it's a topic of discussions internally that the engineers are working on. But but I haven't tried a sample of it yet. But I do know that the cameras are relatively high resolution, and
Yeah.
they tried to match the FOV of the headset, so you get a real nice reality to it. The part that I don't know about it is that whether or not I'm sure it still uses the inside out tracking when you add that, but I'm pretty sure it requires that, and it won't work with the Lighthouse when you add that module, but I could be wrong.
Okay. Yeah, right. So it's still far away from this moment on, right? Quite still far away, that AR module.
I don't know. Like I say, it is in the engineering docket that we get when we do the reports. I see it.
Yeah.
So I know the teams are working on it on the different sleeves, on the faceplates. But those are things that are not the top priority. The top priority now is the Lighthouse faceplate for as far as the faceplates go.
Yeah, that makes
The
sense.
top priority is the Lighthouse one.
Is
And
Lighthouse
the Lighthouse one,
faceplate available on day one? Is that something that you
I
can
hope
say
I
now?
hope it's available on or around day one. Our intention is to get it out right around that time. So
Okay. Yeah, since your
they keep
engineer
telling
said
me
it's
how
so
easy.
easy,
They
yeah,
keep
then
telling me how easy it is.
it should
So
be there.
I'm like, I want one.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, me too. People want that, right? It's good. We like Lighthouse.
the ones they've built, it has it in it. It's got the lighthouses. It's like the faceplate's like part of it.
Okay. Got
Just
it.
for the sample, just for testing. And
Right.
it's not the mask or not the faceplate. It's for testing. It's just to test where the sensors go and all that.
All
But
right.
they say it works fine, and it's really easy to make it a faceplate that just snaps right on, like the other ones do. So
Got it.
I think it'll be. It's not according to them, it is not a technical challenge.
All
So
right. All right. So, um, tell us the ballpark price of the Lighthouse module, because people are going to pay
I don't know.
2,400. Okay, you don't know.
I don't
Okay.
know, but I think
Yeah.
it's going to be inexpensive.
Yeah.
I think our intention is to make it inexpensive, and I think they definitely don't want that to have a high price. So it's going to be low.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, basically, I am finished with all my questions. That was
I don't think
already
the
it.
Lighthouse module is something we plan on making on being like a profit center or anything. I think we just
Got
want
it.
people to be able to get it.
Got
Yeah.
it.
There's
Yeah.
certain things we want people to be able to do, or we want to get that over to them so that so they can have the capabilities, and it's out there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Makes sense.
So,
Okay, so I
but
just
yeah, this has gone on a long time.
Yeah,
You've answered
exactly.
about as much as
Yeah, exactly. So I want to get to an end now because already we've been talking for 3 hours, and yeah, that's amazing. So we've learned so much
amazing.
about. That's really amazing. So we learned
Everybody,
so much about the
I
device.
just people that are watching this, and especially this long, congratulations to you.
Yeah,
Uh,
really, really.
but uh,
Yeah,
and thank you
there
so
was an
much for
amazing stream.
coming, and thank you so much for putting up
Absolutely.
with me for this long. and
Yeah, with us, with both of us.
and
Oh my goodness,
yeah,
3 hours, really
but
nice.
thank you. It's just great that we have people interested, and we just want to live up to the promises of this headset. And I know
Yeah,
in my testing that we can, and having events like these is ways we want to show it. And
yeah, that's good. People
we
need
showed
to have
the
more
headset,
like
and we
this.
showed the function with the photos and the wireless adapter and the
Yeah.
joysticks, and we showed the station, and we showed a lot of things. And but the next ones you'll get to see a lot more. And
Wow, and we're excited about it, honestly speaking.
and
Yeah,
and like I say, one of the things I'd love to do is have you guys, get a whole group of people down here. We can all
I'm
uh,
ready.
experiment with this stuff and do it live.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Have
I'm
it where
ready
the
to
good,
go.
the bad, the ugly is all there, and everybody
I'm
gets to
ready
see it.
to step into the plane and visit you, and yeah, look through the device
I've
to
had
tell the
other
people about it.
ones. I've had other YouTubers say that they want to come down and do that. So
Yeah,
we're happy to have them and let them have the hands-on time where we don't interfere with them, where they can, where you can just have at it. And but I would like to be around, so that we can make sure everything is okay, and if there's a driver or something. But
yeah, of course,
something improvement that you guys uncover some problem, we can be there to fix it.
of
But
course.
that's
So
all.
I'm ready. I'm ready to
I'd love for
come.
you guys to have at it, but we're around to fix something if it goes wrong. That's kind
Perfect.
of what I'd like to do next.
Right, right. So yeah, the community here watching us right now, they seem to really appreciate what we did here. 3 hours, like you answered all the
Wow,
questions that I had, and
that's a lot of questions.
we got exclusive reveals here on MRTV
Yeah, I got
of
quite
the
a
hardware,
few.
which is amazing. Thank you for that. Yeah, it was really really cool. Thanks so much for your time. It's also a long time for you, and yeah, yeah, really
Thank,
nice, really
thank,
really
I
cool.
thank everybody so much for sticking with us and with our existing headsets, and of course the new ones. And and I just want to thank all the other VR companies out there for innovating,
Yeah.
sticking with the VR community. We need all,
It's
and
exciting.
we have,
It's
and our
really
best wishes
exciting.
is for all of them, and our best wish in your channel and your
Thank you. Yeah,
success as
it's looking
well.
good. It's looking very
Really,
good.
thank you.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I'm excited about the next show. I'm excited about the next reveal. You said you have so many things that you're going to tell the community. Probably you could give the community an idea when will be the next show, when will be the next reveal. What should they do other than subscribing to this
You'll
channel?
see. So upcoming, a little bit of a schedule, I guess. So I can't go too detailed into it, but I can
Yeah,
say
okay.
this: we have that release for the existing headsets coming up soon, which is some and a bunch of people will be invited to be part of that, and they'll be welcome to talk about it in public.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I can get you a copy of that, so you can show it on your show if you want to. It's
Yeah,
essentially our
obviously
new
I want to.
software. So we
Yeah.
have that, and that'll be very soon. And then after that, which will be pretty quick after that, we're going to do some more showing. We've got some feature reveals we want to do. So we have the feature reveals we want to have. We got a couple of those that haven't been talked about yet. A couple of them are real cool. Um, and that'll be right after that. And then we have the big companion announcement that I am sure won't be that long. It's the one that we were going to make at CES, and you know a little bit about it, but
Yeah.
it's something that it's going to be exciting, and that'll, I hope, next month, but we'll see. It could happen anytime, and
Wow.
but it's one of those things where you test it and you kind of evaluate, well, where is it at now, and is it worthy to just go crazy with it and show everybody all the through the lens and all that. And but on the 12K, it is ready for that kind of thing and down that path next with that.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to jump into the plane and take my camera to make these videos through the lens. I'm looking
You're
forward
welcome
to
do it, and we'd love to have you. And like I say, I'd like to make it a gathering, and have it where a bunch of people next month or something, or whenever. Okay. But
yeah, nice. I'm ready.
But we'll let you know, and when the time is right for that. But we've got time. This is a Q4 release for this headset, and all I can say is the place we're at is a good place on the development, and it's coming right along, and there's no technical issues that are going to stop it from the Q4 release. So I think everybody at the company is still confident about that. So, and you'll learn, and I think everybody will have a lot of, once we show in the next weeks and months more, I think that everybody will have that confidence too.
Okay. So I really think that this event was really important, because people were simply wondering what is going on. What is going on with the PIMAX 12K Qled, right? They hoped for the CES show. It didn't happen because of several reasons, and they were wondering, is that still a thing? But I do think that this show has given them, lots of confidence, honestly speaking. And I really appreciate your way of answering to all my questions, even though they were hard, like MRTV style. Yeah. So appreciate that a lot.
I would just say that not everybody is wants us to do these kinds of events as far as the company goes. But I'm a big fan of trying to get as much information out there as I can, and I hope we can continue to do that. So
great.
That's where it's at.
Again, thank you so much. For all the people who are watching this still right now, I would like to let you know this is still not over. So for all the people who are watching right now, you still probably have questions. You still want to talk more about the PIMAX 12K Qled, and you can do that on a new thing that I've installed on the MRTV Discord server. It's the MRTV staging channel, and there the show will go on in probably half an hour, in 30 minutes. I'll be there, and I am going to tell you about my thoughts. I'm going to answer your questions, and I know probably somebody from Pimax will also be there. Who knows?
Maybe.
So go to the MRTV Discord server.
I am a member.
Now, sorry, Kevin. The connection was gone. Go to the MRTV Discord server and find us in the MRTV staging channel in half an hour. I'll be there. I will take your questions. I will give you my impressions about what we heard here right now. And probably Kevin could be there too to answer questions if you still have time.
Yeah.
That's cool. So go there, go to the MRTV Discord server. The link is down in the comment section, in the description.
Good.
Yeah, and then MRTV staging channel in half an hour. I'll be there. Perhaps Kevin will be there if he still has time to answer your questions, but I will be there for sure.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And let's do it again.
Exactly.
Thank you so much.
And guys, don't forget the thumbs up. That's everything that we got. Now, Kevin's gone already. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching this. I think there was an amazing show. That's really the MRTV stuff that I love to do here on this channel. Simply giving you raw information, doing it MRTV style, asking the hard questions, and being fair, honest, and independent. Damn, I love this channel. It's a very, very good channel. So do leave your thumbs up, and I will post the link to the MRTV Discord server link is down in the comment section, in the description. If it's not, you will find it on all my videos. So that's it. Do also leave a comment. In this video, so more people can find it. Do share this. Do all the good stuff. And I'm really happy about this show. That was a really cool show. That was a cool show. Hope you enjoyed it as well. And that's everything that I got for this live stream. Until then, bye-bye, and see you on the MOTV stage channel on the MOTV Discord server in half an hour. Bye-bye.